We mean a bottle of Stein. It even says it's delicious ale.
Ooh, man.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, so I'm just drinking this on the way back,
Wait, is there
Beck's
a
gonna
law
have a
that
serious problem. Beck's gonna have a serious problem.
Yeah, oh,
It-
baby, is the
what do you call that law where you can't have an open container? Is that a thing in the?
open container law.
No, it's all private vehicles and they're all self-driving. So what the hell?
Oh,
Go ham.
yeah, that's cool.
Okay, fair.
I mean, I don't go do I go crazy? I mean, we're not doing anything else tonight. I won't go crazy while we're walking back, but
Yeah.
I'll be casually sipping a constant
Yeah.
for the next.
Yeah, by the time we're in the floating.
Back up in the
boat.
tree house. Oh, but yeah, by the time he's back in the boat, yeah, he's taking it off, thoroughly, sloshed by the time you guys get back to the tree house.
man,
Almost
you
falls
said-
out of the tree.
This was like 25 gold, one right?
I can't remember.
It's an investment in the long run. We're
Jeez,
saving
man,
money.
He's got to make that
fucking
money
cheap.
back. Nice.
Dude, that's some cheap stuff, though. Like.
I mean, 25 gold for the average person is an amazing amount of money.
Yeah, you cast your mind back to what you were being paid, when you were
Yeah, but,
the guard, and it's
Like a few silver.
Yeah, I guess.
you were making probably about a silver a day.
Dude, it would have cost me only like a year's wages to buy this. It's pretty good.
So
Again, you were in the guard, right? So you were making probably more money than the average person.
I mean, they
Oh,
treated
God.
the guards pretty badly and all. They didn't really realize that we were pretty important to the whole situation.
What do you mean important?
Well, I mean, in the end, it didn't really matter. But
Yeah.
keeping civil, safety, and unrest down.
You had much unrest where you were working, Leon?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my job was pretty easy.
Yeah, you guys get back. I can't remember. Did you go out shopping with them, Zoms, or did you stay back with Blackbird?
No, I went with.
You went with. Okay, Blackbird remained
Sure.
behind alone.
We didn't get her one, did we?
We're gonna come back and she's
We
gonna be
left out.
gone. We don't have to tell her.
She's not. She's not. She's just perusing through some light reading that was lying around.
Should we have gotten her one of these mugs? No.
Maybe like a bottomless tea cup. I don't know.
She can share about it anyway. You can pass it. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys step off the you stumble slightly off the boat once it's pulled back up at your eyrie. And yeah, she gives you she immediately notices that you guys have, or at least a couple of you, are slightly the ones who drink, and says,
The better for drink, you mean?
exactly. She says, "Oh, you took the relaxing to another level, I see."
And I just pointed back, like one of us did.
Oh, someone
Hey, no.
take his arm. He's gonna fall backwards, I think.
Hey, I'm fine.
This is important balancing exercise.
Okay.
I can
Oh, I just had a thought, if there's protocol for a bottomless
400
sign
to
for
drop
sharing
behind
it, which
them
is
right now.
a gulp pass similar to puff puff pass. Is that the rule?
Come on, I can have my drink. Don't you worry about me.
As I just barely put my foot in front of him, he just eats
Yeah.
it. Just
Hey.
The road is long and hard. I think we've earned a night off, a night without worries.
It's been a while since I've had night off.
So, you'll be speaking with Lady Wormscald tomorrow.
Oh, I don't get hungover.
correct.
That wasn't quite where I was going with it.
Oh, no.
I was more wondering what it exactly is you're going to ask her.
Something about an evil dragon, right?
Thing
Did I
that
not tell
worries
you
me.
about
You did, but I was more seeking. So you go and ask her about this thing, and she tells you about it, and then what then?
No, we do what they say, I guess.
Well, what do
More of a
you?
fact-finding mission, right? It's find out all that we can about that, how dangerous it
Yeah,
is,
but
what
judging
potentially
How this shit is going down.
the Dawn want with it, why they were there. Once we know that, we report back, and then we take you where you need to go.
Man, they. I don't know. You think I'll just know?
I mean, she'll have a better idea than. And I point not Blackbird, the rest of our party, right? More than we do.
Yeah.
Look, the thing I'm worried about is she appears to be a pretty prominent figure within the city. I don't know, I'm not one for politics, can we go up and ask her, have a vital meeting? Will others be listening? Will there
We
be
already
ears?
arranged a meeting, didn't we?
Well, yes, but should we be careful with the words that we utter? Should we be looking out for...
Again, I think we
We'll have to
avoid any specific discussion about the resistance, about our superiors, about what we've done and seen outside of the dragon. That's why we were there.
See, but, for example, mentioning the resistance, you mentioned that there are eyes on us while near and in the city. This is not a... Well, yes, but their hatred for the Dawn only goes so far, right? If there's inspections, if there's talk, rumors, we might still be in trouble.
Again, I think it's to be careful and not give more information than we need to. But what's done is done. When in terms of what they've scryed upon us in our items, it's too late for that. We can still keep them hidden.
But like
so
the guy
that...
at the gate already knew like what we were doing basically, and he didn't seem to give much of a shit.
A bit.
I mean, no. Again, he knew of our items and you can see that it was smart of us to put them away.
Like, he clearly
Because while
knows
they
that.
don't care,
Right, but maybe we should ask for discretion nonetheless. We are here asking for a problem that the Dawn was investigating. Probably don't want too many people knowing about.
right? I think
bit of
that
an
kind
issue.
of becomes obvious knowing. I highly doubt that the singer will not know why we're here. Not maybe the specifics, right? But we're looking for information, maybe connected. I just don't think we have to outwardly express that.
That'd be nice. Okay, well, you've put more thought into this than I have. I'll follow your lead. I won't say anything too risky.
This has to come up in case there are other eyes there. How did we stumble upon the creature?
Right. It's pretty
'Cause
weird.
that can be difficult.
Hey, I was just, on the road and stumbled into, this
In the middle
cigarette.
of the forest in Falinar.
Right. The dragon asked for directions. I thought it was a bit worrying.
We are kind of adventurers. Maybe we had heard rumors of something going on out there, went to investigate.
Who do you think's gonna be listening in? Like,
I don't know. I just say be a little prepared.
I don't know how magic works. I don't know how easy it is to listen in on any conversation that's happening within the city at all times. I mean,
if she's
The
a
one
powerful-
party member we have who actually can cast some form of magic.
But like, we weren't worried about Godsold, which is a much stronger Dawn presence, talking about it without being overheard. Why are we worried now?
I don't know. The idea was put in my mind that such a thing is possible. So, because now I'm thinking about it.
Again, it's the slightly discomforting feeling of knowing that you were being watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were being
I think
watched by Dawn.
I think I'm in agreement of you back. Magic, it's unfair.
Like, if the person is like right now, we're talking about the resistance in this room. Why are we saying it's safe to talk about it here and not in her place? Surely
Oh,
it'd be
because
safer
Brom
to-
already mentioned it, and I think he's a smarter guy than me, so I figured I'd just follow his lead and think it's
But
fine.
like, we're here talking about being members of resistance. She's probably a spellcaster, right, or some powerful fucking person. Surely she'd have better protection than us if she's a member of resistance as well. So why the fuck are we worried about talking to her and not worried about talking to each other?
Because people might care about what she's saying and not what we're saying.
We're
But
nobody.
like, she'd be prepared for that, right? Like,
Maybe.
Again, potentially.
Oh, hopefully.
I don't think there's trouble to talk through it. I just don't think it's worth worrying that much about it.
I mean, there's nothing we can fucking do anyway. If she wants, if she's got like anti fucking magic shit, then I deal with it.
Fair.
Ah, we need to get some anti-magic shit.
Yeah, fucking hate it.
Anyway, Blackbird, we've
Blackbird's
got
probably
these...
just looking at us like, you guys are stupid.
Letting you work your way through the problem. No, work the problem.
It's just whatever.
Yeah.
Just...
Well, I'm glad to hear that caution will be on your minds. Probably not worth spilling the details on. more than you need to.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. After a few drinks, I'll invite back to have another sparring session on the edge. See who
Yeah, sure.
is the most daring.
Let's go.
Alright.
Like that kind of.
I go to
frowned at
bed. One of you falls. Try not to die.
that. What do you spar with? Just your fists, or?
Fisticuffs.
I'll have like a
Greco-Roman wrestling.
a Floyd, like defensive style, you know. And, I'll let Beck do the aggressive.
So
punching.
good, but fucking boring.
Yeah.
Okay.
What? It's a good description of Leon.
That's true.
Morally good, but a bit boring.
Yeah, I'm just, like, going for some, little punches,
Okay. Yeah. Blackbird doesn't join in to watch tonight's sparring.
Just rude.
She just gets an early night.
Yep.
Lets you guys go at it. You don't feel like you draw any particular attention. And yeah, assume like not altogether too late. You guys, finish up. Just get a nice bit of exercise in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And head to bed. Sort of sooner rather than later.
Sure.
So we leave Beck and Leon to their fisting, and we all go to bed.
Reasonably. The night passes without major events. Occasionally the tree sways a bit, sort of discomfortingly in the wind. It's a feeling not
I'm way too drunk to feel that.
completely unlike seasickness.
It felt like it was swaying before it started.
Fair enough.
It's
Fair
balancing out now.
It's like, oh, that's better. It's like,
And yeah, like the sun doesn't really pin. I mean, you guys have been in the forest for a few days. You're aware the sun doesn't really, like rise so much as it grows steadily lighter towards midday and then sort of steadily darker after midday. The tree cover, even this high up, the canopy cover is pretty thick. Yeah, you guys get your long rest.
that's good.
Good night's rest.
I was already max HP. This was magic.
We haven't had fight for like weeks.
Yeah, that's true. You guys covered a lot of ground.
Oh
last
yeah,
session.
we did. We did just like walk on through the forest, right, without any issue.
Walk on through, yep.
And morning arises. Arrives.
You.
I
So,
don't quite remember. Was it on midday that we had arranged a meeting?
Yeah.
Midday.
you were invited for lunch.
Well, we have provisions for breakfast, right? Okay.
Yes. And there's food here as well. It's
Yeah,
all
that's what I
very sort
mean.
of
Yeah.
vegetarian and mossy and stuff.
I told you I should have brought some meat.
Well, yes, for back in manage for breakfast. I'm not feeling up to too much food anyway right now.
Blackbird asks, shall I come with you today or should I remain here again?
Two.
I think you join us. You're the one most well-read, and could use your insight on many topics, including not making a fool of ourselves in Elven Court if such a thing would to occur.
I can't pretend I'm completely up with the manners and customs here, but I can, I suppose, advise on those topics insofar as I understand them.
Great.
That'd be great, yeah. Okay.
Does anyone have anything they want to do in the morning, or are you just waiting for the anointed hour to arrive?
I'm waiting.
I mean, I probably wake up pretty late, so I don't know how far away it is from lunchtime, by the time I really get up.
Sure.
You're Leon, you're still feeling that draw to somewhere.
I'm trying to ignore it.
He's just ignoring.
Yeah, okay. So noon draws near. Probably, give it you don't want to be late, so you give it a sort of generous, hour to get there. Even though your flight through the trees has been relatively swift so far, you haven't seen all of the city yet. before the group of you load up in one of the air canoes, place the pattern on the sensor, and push off into the slipstream, and it carried away swiftly. It rapidly lowers you down several levels, or at least a couple levels as you're traveling. You pass through Iron Oaks, where you were doing all your shopping yesterday, which is probably by far and away the most entrancing, or at least unusual vision, or quarter of Greenheart to pass through, just from a visual perspective. By the time you reach the Dragon Ward, which is the top hex, you're skimming along in the lowest of the different levels of flight.
Did you move the whole map on purpose, by the way? Chris?
Did I just move the whole map? I meant to move the
so.
party token. There we go. So by the time you get there, you're only about 100 feet or so off the ground.
Drive this fool.
And
Wait,
eventually
for real though?
Well, yeah, I reckon so.
you take the
Oh,
half
I
that's
take
fallen
it.
in this edition or
I
something.
think 50 damage, it wouldn't even be half. What are you talking about?
It wouldn't even break a sweat.
Could
Well, I mean,
twice.
I know
Do
we
I?
face some dangerous things, but there's no messing with the laws of nature.
There's a little messing. You fucking get power from gods, right? To heal people.
Oh yeah, okay, sure, a little messing, I'll give you that, but this is a...
You see, we're in a
That
fucking
sentence,
flying
right.
boat right here. This is fucking messing with nature in my mind.
I mean, can you guys magic?
No.
Well then jump off.
Yeah, I said I could survive. I didn't say it would be a fucking trip.
And as you
Personally.
make this
Kneecaps,
joke,
maybe not.
a huge black dragon
Uh-oh.
swoops dangerously nearby to where you guys are flying, seemingly with sort of a reckless disregard for your safety.
Save the canoe.
Like rocking in his own sort of contrails and slipstream, the canoe quite violently. Everyone make a reflex saving throw.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Worse. Do we get... Because... Does the full plate...
We're not wearing our armor, remember? We
Oh,
did
that's
that.
true. Oh, right.
Check, because I know I just got a couple new abilities. Pretty sure I can get much higher than that.
Okay, you guys all managed to... Oh yeah, Bromwell actually GR'd it, but you got a 23, just for people
Yeah.
who are wondering. You all managed to
about Blackbird?
maintain your... Oh yeah, no, fair point.
Uh-oh.
God,
No, I forgot
you
she's there.
killed Blackbird.
Oh, well.
NPC's black.
Just at the end of our days, that's fine.
But I get a critical
Oh,
success.
baby.
As does Blackbird, apparently.
It wasn't it was hard for an average person, but you guys are all pretty seasoned by now. Zoms, Bromok, Beck, and Blackbird are all pretty pretty unruffled. Leon, you feel a sudden sickening lurch and almost are thrown sort of out of your seat, but you manage to catch hold of a rope tied to the sail and stop yourself from plummeting the 100 or so feet to the ground. And correct. Yeah, you're sort of staring straight down for a second, and manage to pull yourself, probably with a steadying hand from Beck, back into your.
What do you say?
Back into your.
The
seat.
steady
Pushes me off.
hand
And
of
as
Beck.
you guys now look around, distracted from your conversation by the sudden event, you see the dragon that just flew past turn sharply upwards, swooping and landing in a perch much higher up in one of the trees.
Wait,
What
hold on
the
a minute.
fuck is that? Wait, Black
Do I
Dragon
remember
evil
this
shit,
from
right?
before?
Right.
Black dragons just flying around the city.
When were you last here? I can't remember exactly when you
A
described
couple
it.
of years, probably.
Yeah. And so, not necessarily flying around the whole city, but in the Dragon Ward, as you guys now look, you see that there are pretty much only, in fact, I would say only chromatic. Those of the chromatic flights present here. Yeah, I don't think any of you have direct knowledge, but Blackbird says, this is a sight I had expected to see, but it is distressing nonetheless. It would seem that the Dragon Ward is today only open to those dragons who will swear a contract never to oppose the infernal material dominion,
Jesus.
using aid to its allies and remaining neutral in its conflicts.
Hmm.
Few of the metallic flights would be seen here these days.
They've even controlled dragonkind. Well, that's
Well, most that I'm aware of have sworn to remain neutral, not to oppose the Dominion, but certainly not promising to aid it. However, there are definitely some I have read have gone even further and allied themselves directly with the IMD in exchange for special treatments and privileges.
What happened to all the good fucking dragons? Where did they fuck off to?
I think, as I know, they left the nation before the fall of Drasvatiata and the whole forest. They saw the writing on the wall and left while they had the chance. There were certainly those that were involved in the defense of the land, but even they were unable to stem the tide of hell.
wait. I've heard stories, of dragons changing and appearing as if they're human. Is there any chance that that's real?
It is an ability that some have, at least in the stories. I can't pretend to have encountered any great dragons in my time. And
All I'm saying, her name is Blackbird. That thing, is kind of a blackbird. I'm just
sure I appreciate the comparison, Leon.
Of course. I'm just kidding. It just means that there is still a chance it's.
Is this more likely the famous dragon Sauron we're visiting with the name Worm in their name is one who could possibly be a dragon in disguise?
I hadn't even thought that far, but I was saying that there could be a chance there's still some dragons fighting a good fight.
Yes, that's true.
It's pretty hard
If any
to.
of you guys are dragons, I'd appreciate you telling me before you fucking turn into one. Man, that's a shit impression.
Look, I've only seen a real dragon once up close, okay? They were pretty nice.
Two just fucking out.
There are
Well,
stories of dragons who have taken on the forms of humanoid races in order to potentially infiltrate settlements or influence others without revealing their true nature. But as far as I know, they are never successful at concealing their true nature from other dragons.
It'd be unlikely to succeed here, of all places. Between the Scrying and everyone who's here, and most dragons have some type of true sight or ability to see through such imagery.
I'd say so, yes. The likelihood of finding a friendly metallic dragon disguised here amidst so much, just kind of gestures broadly to the air you're now flying through, where, like at least a half dozen, whether perched in a tree or flying nearby at any time, chromatic dragons, red, blue, white, green, red, all visible in different places. Black, obviously, the one you just saw.
And then there's the weird brine. Is it brine dragons?
There are some in the
Pathfinder
Inventory 2. There's a few interesting types.
Any of those here?
Not immediately, obviously, just with a casual glance around. That's not to say there's none in the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brine dragons, cloud dragons. Interesting.
There's the big bad one.
There's crystal dragons, which are
TMS?
good, and magma dragons, neutral. Umbral dragons, they're evil.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Umbral dragons. I remember
Edgy
Well,
dragons.
Let's hope we get to her house, whatever, before these guys have too much of a
Decide to
us.
have a meal.
Look, all I'm saying is you might have been pretty mad at me before, but I'm glad that we fought the bear. I think you can take at least one of those things. I have faith.
Okay. If it's a blue dragon, I feel
Wait,
more
so you guys
confident now.
don't say you could take like a big dude in armor, but you reckon you can take like a dragon?
I didn't say that.
I mean, as a collective, I think we can take on a lot of things. Our teamwork's pretty nifty.
Not the big dude in the
Argument for another day.
I mean, magic is a weird thing. Do dragons have a lot of magic?
more than a big dude in armor.
You think so?
Fuck yeah. Who needs armor if you have magic?
Dragons are,
It's cast less magic, I guess.
at least many dragons are powerful spellcasters in both their dragon forms and humanoid forms.
Oh, sorry, puppy.
And our chances have just gone down.
I'm not sure you had many chances to begin with.
Oh, if it's just a big animal, we fought those.
Right. But again,
Anyways.
that's the big difference between like the Bahir and a dragon.
That's
Well,
not.
they're
Yeah.
potentially distant related.
I could kill a baby dragon.
As you guys are saying this, your canoe, your flight canoe, like leaves the slipstream and begins spiraling down towards the top level of a sort of pyramid-like structure, or a very conical structure
Cigarette.
of wood. Out of the top of which it forms the base of a tree. It kind of like it comes up from the ground. It's probably about 80 or 90 feet across at the base, and then comes to the top, and then the tree grows upwards out of it for up to the regular height that I do here of several hundred feet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, your ship spirals down towards the highest level of one of this structure. Settling on a platform in itself is probably about. I mean, it's you can't really see off the ground because it'd be a slide down, but about 60 or 70 feet in the air. Where you see an elf standing in wait. Again, indeterminate age, not especially young, not especially old, with silver hair and silver eyes. Male, by the way.
And pray.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, no,
yeah.
Hunter Prey, I see.
Oh.
I think,
It's a joke.
yeah, none of your... No, of course
You
not your
remembered the
character,
name,
with
good
long
job.
ears. His
I
eyes
did,
aren't-
exactly.
His eyes are sort of like slightly dull silver. They're not quite like the perfect mirror sheen, like that long ears as well. Not that if your character's ever met him, but just to describe him.
Wait.
And he's wearing a sort of relatively,
Sorry, we didn't.
plain white robe.
So
Sort of more of a toga than anything.
Kind of looking around, and he's the only one in the clearing. Okay.
Yeah, you sort of pull to a stop, and you see him. He's 30 or 40 feet away. He begins striding
like
over.
raise a hand and greet him.
Not that far. Yeah, because you're only on the upper level. But yeah, he sort of begins walking over. And he says, greetings. You must be Lady Wormskull's lunch companions.
Yes, that's right.
You are slightly early. Maybe I could offer you a light refreshment before I show you to the dining room.
I think that'd
That'd
be
be lovely.
wonderful. Yes, we could all use a good glass of water. I'm looking at Beck.
what do you mean? I look at you. I look better than you, boy. I had him fine.
This way, please. It's got quite sort of like neutral tones. It's very sort of inscrutable, and leads you off to, like a chamber still on the highest level of this structure, with, it's a few seats around a sort of wooden coffee table thing. There's a jug of like a crystal jug of perfectly clear water sitting out, along with a few wooden cups. And like a few different amenities around. You kind of gesture, indicates to all of them, there's some bathing facilities there if any of you require the use of them.
Kind of sniff myself.
Water here is pure as it is anywhere in the world. Please, you're welcome to partake. And he shows you he just makes you comfortable. Shows you how can open the windows and stuff, and says, "I shall return in 20 minutes or so to collect you for lunch. If there is aught you need, please tell me now so that I can endeavor to be of better service.
All right.
Thank you. But I believe we're all fine. Kind of looking at the others.
Leon is walking towards the baiting services.
Yeah, like it's again, elves with elves. It's very hard to tell who they're looking at because they have no like pupils or irises. But he sort of just like faces blankly towards the group for gives everyone a few seconds. Blackbird says nothing either. Before departing by an arch in the wall that you can see leads to a spiral staircase that heads downwards around the outside of the structure.
Sure.
Well, yeah, leaves you guys in. Yeah, it's much smaller than the residence that you've been given, but a reasonably roomy space.
Yeah, I'll drink a bit of water.
Is there privacy for the bath?
There's a curtain that can be drawn.
Okay. I'll take a quick bath, whistling all the way around.
It's not especially private. It's more like a sort of like a bath shower combo with just like a shower curtain that can be drawn.
That's good enough.
You're still really very much in the same room as your compatriots, but
You've travelled together for a while now.
Blackbird does look the other way as you're stripping down.
Doesn't?
Does.
Okay,
Does look
that was gonna say.
The others are kind of very casual about it, but she kind of makes a point of sitting in a chair with her back towards that corner. Yeah.
Just drink some water. Test it for poison. Seems unpoisoned.
And by test it for poison, you mean
I drink
see if you have to make a
He
saving
consumed the
throw.
poison
Yeah,
to
okay.
determine is it poison.
See if the DM asks for a saving throw.
I
Or
drink not that much. I drink like half of it first, and then I decide.
Only make half a saving throw.
Exactly.
It's slightly lower DC.
Brahma
That's
makes
our-
a note of how to kill Beck. Just do a poison that doesn't take effect for 24 hours.
Blackbird
We
said,
could be dead.
that one seemed strangely standoffish, even for an elf.
Oh, I thought that was normal.
It is.
That's what I've never known them to be the most forthright and open people, but he didn't even introduce himself.
Did notice that.
Oh, well, I didn't introduce myself either, so
She shrugs and says, perhaps that's just the way things are here these days. The less everyone knows, the better.
Maybe.
Okay, after I got out of my bath and dress up again, I'll come out and say,
Just some flossing out in the open.
yeah, like with a towel, yeah.
Whipped back with the towel. Hey.
Say, are you sure you guys don't want to look presentable and smell presentable? I've been on the road for a
Assuming
while.
that where we were last night, there was some type of
There's
similar-
one that everyone could, people could have used, but if everyone wants to make use of it, it would have probably been.
Yeah,
I
I definitely would have
an
because
order and-
while they were sparring, I would have been like,
Okay.
Yeah, I
perfect.
said I'd watch off after we spar, so I would have done it last night after we sparred, right? Because I've been doing
So-
that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Something.
some people get sweaty in their sleep,
I do sleep fights, but now I'm okay.
Blackbird says, I made use while you were out shopping yesterday.
Right.
And yeah, you guys remain there undisturbed until the sort of promised 20 minutes have passed when the same silver-haired, silver-eyed elf returns and says, Lady Wormsgold is ready for your company now. Please, if you'll follow me this way.
I'll
kinda
walk
turns
up
and-
to him. Wait, before he turns, I'll walk up to him and extend a hand and say, "Oh, I completely forgot. By the way, I'm Leon. It's a real pleasure."
There's the slightest moment of hesitation before he accepts your hand, only slightly gingerly, and says, I am Melian.
Is it a
Please make
dead
your
fish
acquaintance."
handshake?
It's a bit of a limp handshake.
Okay.
Hi there. Beautiful tree you've got here.
It's not like dead fish in the sense that his hand is kind of cold and clammy,
Right.
but it's not like a sort of firm, warm handshake.
Yeah.
It's a polite handshake. Doesn't really grip your hand properly. And then just sort of, having introduced himself, turns and just walks out through the door he just came by. So expecting
Melion?
everyone to follow. Yeah, Melion.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Yeah, it's you pass through the staircase you're taking sort of spirals around the outside of this, like conical building.
Yeah.
Obviously, the turns getting progressively, narrow, not narrow, but less sharp as it proceeds down. Until you guys can kind of glance out windows and get a sense for where you are. You pass several chambers on the way. Some with like open doors that stare in, although you don't really, unless you like really stop and look. You just see sort of wooden interiors and rooms, like, maybe some books around and stuff, but nothing of like that grabs particular interest. And some rooms have like actual closed doors that prevent you from seeing inside. But all the way down, there's exterior windows that kind of give you an idea of exactly where you are.
Do we see a lot of people around?
A couple, like maybe one in one room, and a single-digit number of people you see in the whole thing. It's not very many at all. And everyone seems like sort of deep in concentration or going about some duty or business, or no one's just sort of like lounging around or seems to have any particular interest in what you guys are doing. Until you're brought to a wide chamber at the. On like what you would estimate just from having looked outside the window and seen the height on like the second level. So Brits would call the first floor, Americans would call the second floor of the structure. You think there's like one level below you, but it's a large round room that seems to comprise the entirety of this level of the cone. And in the middle of this the round room there is a large round table. It could easily seat like 15 or 20 people.
So me and Leon fit in perfectly, just about.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of an odd. It's kind of like a how to describe it? It's like a C shape, I guess. So people can sit around the edge of it, but like also there's like an opening at one bit, and the middle is all emptied out. So like servers could like enter the interior of the table and like stand directly in front of people and serve them.
And there's like a hot plate, so the chef can stand in the middle cooking.
Actually, and interestingly, there is like a large fire pit in the middle. That you guys haven't really seen any fires burning, apart from in Iron Oaks, where the forges were lit and the trees are made of stone or iron. In any of these any of these wooden structures, over it is a cauldron in which a large stew of some kind is being prepared.
Maybe I do love stew.
And already laid out along the table are everyone's all the places are set individually, but there's also like baskets of bread, like bowls of salad, and so on. Everything does seem to be vegetarian. There's things like it's not vegan. There's butter and there's like eggs and stuff are in use. But like there doesn't seem to be any meat. Although in true elven fashion, everything is like an incredibly sort of elaborate creation that probably took many, not many hours, but like wasn't a sort of like a ready meal in the microwave for 3 minutes. Like a lot of spices have been used in all these sort of things. There's like a lot of ingredients. It's a pretty elaborate sort of
these eggs
setup.
from free-range chickens that are not corn-fed.
Probably free-range dragons from the looking at it. Just
I can eat enough eggs to get my protein for the day, I guess. Just like a few dozen.
Yeah, and
I mix them up. Rocky
directly opposite the door you've entered by is an elven woman who is clearly like old. Again, difficult to estimate elven ages, but probably older than 600 or 700 years. Very lines to her face. She's of slim build, with sort of short hair tied up in a relatively sort of no nonsense bun. She has rather alarmingly bright red eyes that even without the pupils or iris, you feel sort of fix on you the moment you've entered the room, and is wearing a not ornate brown robe, but like it's a little more stylish and high quality than the simply sort of plain white toga that the elf that sent you around so far is wearing. This it's got a sort of like a gold clasp, but sort of holding it closed, and like the edge is slightly lacy and a little bit nice. The elf that leads you in, Melian, says, "Your guests have arrived, my lady. Is there aught more you need? But she just waves a hand. Oh, and there is one other figure in the room. There's a relatively young-looking elf who's standing by the big cook pot in the middle and seems to be like he's agitating it with a big wooden stirring spoon. Yeah, and occasionally adding ingredients and sort of tasting it, sniffing it, casting a bit of prestidigitation, and
Nice.
and other such stuff to to get it exactly how he
Such a useful
how he wants
spell.
it. Such a useful spell. Yeah. She doesn't stand
Domination.
as you enter. She just says, greetings, guests. I am Lady Wormscold. Please. And just kind of gestures to, in general, the table. She says, be seated where you would like.
It's like a circular bench type situation. Or...
Yeah, it's not a bench. It's individual seats, but it is a sort of a big round table.
But you said only certain seats are set, right? Like
No, every seat is set.
Oh. Okay.
But that doesn't seem like there's anyone else here.
Take a seat.
So you can see like relatively near her or far away from her.
Oh, so she's already sitting down.
Yeah.
But like you don't sit facing each other, right?
No.
The seats are only on the outside of the seat. People can walk on the inside, but there aren't seats on the inside.
Let me just no, there's no seats on the inside exactly. I'll just drag you guys here. So like
Wait a minute.
general sort of like
Black though, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is black.
is it going to be dynamic lighting automatically enabled? It probably is. Yeah, there we go. Turn that off. Can you see now?
Yes, you grid
It's
and
big
it's still
grid.
black.
Yeah. Okay. So like if the door is down here on the bottom.
Still black. Oh no.
Yeah, it's just how the grid is. So if the door's down here, I guess I'll
Mhm.
just freehand the shape of this. So you've got like a table that's kind of. God, my mouse ran into something, so this is going to be imperfect, but. Artistic. Broadly like this shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's sort of seated over here, where I put this big white dot, and the fire pit is kind of here in the middle. And then there's like, individual seats all the way around for like a
That's
total of like
cool.
15 or 20 people.
Well, I don't think Liam would think too much about it. I think you just walk over and like sit next to her.
Sit
Okay,
down right next.
give a slight bow first and say, "Hi there, I'm Liam. It's a real pleasure to meet you."
There you go. And she kind of like
That's a
lets her eyes run over the group and says, and notices you, Bromok, and says, "And you must be Bromok, yes?
Indeed, I am. A pleasure to meet you.
And you too. I'm sad we've never had the pleasure until now, but I know your mother."
Oh. It's got definitely has a genuine smile. Like,
I'm gonna take a seat like
Oh, cute.
here, I guess. The one next to Leon, but like not.
Sure. Okay. So the party, you guys like generally sort of sit down on either side of her, with her in
Yeah.
the middle of you all. Okay. Yeah, she calls to the chef, who brings, scoops ladles of soup into bowls and brings everyone one each. You're obviously welcome to help yourself to like the breads and stuff. And yeah, the soup is like it's a vegetable soup, but it's got a lot of flavor to it. It's like, I mean, depending on how much you like, depending on how much you like spice, it's basically, if you didn't like spice, it's probably quite hot. You'd probably consider this quite hot. If you're a sort of like general fan of spice, it's probably average. It's not like
Spice
super
exists in my little village in the north.
Okay.
I'm very confused by how this tastes like this. I'm like, is this poison? And I'm like, well,
This
it's
is-
strong poison.
It's
like, yes, I
painful,
mean-
but I like it.
Yeah, it's like, doing some real weak poison, but it doesn't taste too bad, if you know what I mean.
yeah. And Brabak is like thinking back to his childhood days when the only way to survive was like you had tons of spice to shitty food to hide the taste.
Like apparently, I don't know if this is like purely just made up bullshit, but apparently when the Romans first came to Britain, it was so cold they used to rub themselves over with stinging nettles just to keep themselves warm.
You bitches.
Like they were so, because remember, so they come from
God.
temperate Italy and really nice weather. They consider it so cold in the winter, they just rub stinging nettles up and down their arms,
Oh, that sounds horrible.
That
So
sounds
I'm
so
just
bad.
imagining that's how growing up in the wilds, Bromok used to like flavor the food. It was such garbage. You just rub stinging nettles on your tongue before you eat, just so it's like just as a heat up the whole taste
Yeah.
of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's spicy, but there's a sort of sweetness to it as well. Overall, it's very delicious. I don't want to say it's sweet and sour; that's a bit cliche. But like with the bread and a bit of buttered bread and stuff, like you can use more bread if the spice is a bit overpowering. It makes for a relatively nice meal. It's like hard-boiled eggs and stuff.
Zoms, you can try making this next time out on the road. It looks like it'd heat us up well on a cold day.
I can't wait to see his Nat 1 version of this.
That's a recipe, right? Yeah. I mean, I eat like a good amount. I actually do eat like a lot of eggs. Like maybe like it's not really
more than is polite.
Like 7 maybe.
Like you just take the egg ball and like the seed in front of you.
It's just like this is not mine.
Everyone's like passing around, and he's just sitting there like scooping them out one at a
7
time.
isn't insane, right? Like how many? There's a lot, right?
No, there's plenty.
Yeah, okay, 7.
So to put that in perspective, again, so America is obviously known for large fucking meals because we're all fucking massive people.
Of course.
And like
Big boys.
your average large breakfast is 3 eggs.
Yeah, but it's American eggs, from America.
Yeah, 3 they're
They're
the extra
dinosaur
large
eggs in
American
Europe.
eggs. True.
It's like an ostrich egg.
3 eggs is like a lot. 3 eggs is standard amount of eggs for breakfast, right? 3 eggs is like standard, man.
I don't know. I
It's
feel
also
like
two
eggs.
If it was just eggs, you're right.
But
Probably
if you're having
more.
like an omelet, you'd have like a 3 egg omelet, right?
3 or 4 egg omelet, I think, is a
Yeah.
pretty good omelet. Like,
Yeah, I guess
I
it
ain't about
depends,
those
like-
wimpy little omelets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I cook my omelets myself, and I'm always like, yeah, more omelet. Let's just go, like, 4 eggs, 5 eggs, go crazy.
It's true. Eggs and cheese, man. Mm.
Okay, so yeah, everyone is sits down and is invited to and given the opportunity to take what food they want, and she sort of leaves you to because everyone's clearly enjoying the food or hungry to some degree. She leaves everyone to eat for a few minutes without interrupting, and then
Does the young elf in the middle just like say it the whole time?
Yeah, he's just sort of staying there, tending to the to the broth. He's mostly sort of keeping the heat on the level. He's not really adding a huge number of more ingredients at this point, but stirring it and just kind of keeping it. Yeah, it's a stew. It's the kind of thing that's it's not really like cooked to necessarily be eaten at an immediate time. It's it could just keep it going.
For weeks.
Exactly. And yeah, eventually, once so people are at least reaching the end of their first helping, Lady Wormskull says, "So, tell me, what is the purpose of this meeting, if you would? I have a lot of free time on my hands these days, but not infinite."
I'm kind of looking at Bromok and Blackbird at this point. If we're not speaking up immediately, I'll like look at her and be like, "Well, it's a real issue, really. We've got a bit of a problem from where we came from together, and we asked around, and turns out you are probably the best one to talk to try and go about fixing it. It's an issue. You must. I don't know how to word it, but we don't want to trouble the minds of too many people. Is this a good place to talk about it? Would you say?
I would say so, without knowing more details of what it is you wish to discuss.
Give another glance to Brom.
Nod, yeah.
All right, well, we come from the west. We've spent the last weeks traveling from the forests of Falinar, where we encountered a troubling sight. I don't know if you know much about the area, but we've pieced together that a long time ago there were humans living there, some sort of village, clan, civilization. And they've built this amazing, really, temple, like a pyramid, like a ziggurat, I believe. Well, what we found there was the most troubling part. It was, I kind of like lean in a little bit and say, it was a dragon, but It had lost most of its skin and was clearly some form of undeath. From what I know and from what knowledge I've been given, the word that comes to me is Ravener. It seems from the pictures that were on the walls, some sort of ritual was performed there in order to get it to that state.
She puts down her, her utensils and folds her hands in her lap and turns to regard you more seriously now than she has at any point since you entered the room and says, "You discovered a Ravener here in the Dominion. Are
I'm
you
pretty
quite
sure.
certain?"
Well, that's part of the issue. That we're just traveling folk, I guess you could call us, adventurers of some kind. We're not really knowledgeable on these things. So we're asking around, looking if anybody knows more, and how we would go about solving such a thing.
There are clues and hints that we can deduce more about this from. Fill me in further. Where exactly in this ziggurat, as you termed it,
Can
did
I-
you see it? What were its behaviors? What did you see it doing? Did you speak with it? Did it ask anything of you? Attempt to attack you?
Can I sense motive, like insights, just
Yeah.
to see her?
Yeah, do a Giamia perception check.
Okay. This is with my sight, right? So I get my bonus. Okay.
Yes.
Light.
Uh,
You go through with the
What
weird
do your
blood.
Leon eyes see?
With your goggles on.
Perception.
Okay, you get a sense that you certainly have a strong sense that she's begun taking your visit more seriously. Like at first, you got the general idea that you were an interesting, entertainment, that she had, free time on her hands. She doesn't seem especially busy today, and that she just sort of on a whim, more or less, agreed to meet with you, perhaps because Bromok's name won you, some degree of of attention. But now she is. You don't get any sense of dishonesty from her? It seems like she's asking these questions in a genuine attempt to ascertain more about your situation and so she can provide you with the information you need. But yeah, there's definitely like intent here now and attention being paid.
Yeah, I'll look over to Brom and
Yeah, you
and
get
I'll
the
say,
sense. I guess I should also say
Yeah.
that she herself is quite insightful, and that lying to her would not be an easy thing to do successfully.
So when I noticed Leon kind of look over at me, I just described like, well, to be frank, the ziggurat was laid out, and I just kind of described the way it was laid out, and that I went to scout ahead. There was down some stairs, small amount of like lined water, right, about up to your ankles throughout. I'm the only one of our
Partially
party
flooded,
who,
I see.
the only one of our party who did see the creature. And I just described basically the the half of it that I saw for that brief half of a turn basically, right, in combat.
and the breath.
But I saw it's like, and the breath weapon, the undeath basically, right, that it unleashed, or like the wave of death.
It
Sorry.
breathed on you.
No. So this is part of why we've come. Is there was a fairly large.
I sense where you might be going with this.
Yes.
Felonius, she turns away from you and speaks in. You hear the word Felonius and then speaks in Elven to the elf who's attending this to you. Those who understand the language. She says, Felonius, you have many studies to attend to today. I would not wish to keep you from your duties for far too long. Go get some work done. I will tend to the broth for now. And yeah, the elf just unquestioningly just sort of turns, nods to her, and retreats out of the room.
Insight check.
She stands up from her. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you understand what she's saying, so you can go ahead.
No, but insight check the guy to see if he's annoyed that he's being sent away instead of listening in.
Oh yeah, okay. No, go on.
Bam. Oh, I rolled twice accidentally.
That's okay. Pretty close. Ooh, pity you didn't get to use the second one.
Hmm.
Yeah, like no, you don't sense any real emotion at this from him.
Okay.
You didn't really get the sense that he was like massively eavesdropping. He did seem kind of more intent on his job.
Very important growth.
But he's quite young. Just the relationship and the way she addresses him gives you the sense that he's quite junior here, and probably isn't in a position to really question sort of instructions he's given to a great degree. So yeah, he just nods and leaves the room. At the same time, she stands up from her chair, makes her way behind you and Leon, and Beck around the table. Her sort of robe flowing a little bit, like a foot behind her on the ground, and makes her way to the middle and sort of continues as she says. Continue, Romak, please. I realize now
course.
why you were hesitant to. Why you, Leon, were hesitant with the truth immediately. And yeah, like as you continue to talk, she begins tending to the stew herself.
So what we discovered down there was a fairly large contingent of Order of the Dawn, including at least one captain, multiple colonels.
Lieutenants.
Lieutenants, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colonel's like next.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, like fairly large, and its breath weapon nearly took out the lot in one go. Once we saw that, we realized that we were slightly out of our depth and made a quick and hasty exit to make sure that we could find out more about this.
See, did it speak at any point to you or any of the Order of the Dawn?
By the time we got down there, it was quiet. We could hear some clinking down, maybe something happening, but then a roar and the fight broke out. So if there were words spoken between the Ravener and the Order of the Dawn, I don't know what it was, and it didn't turn out in their favor.
We did get the name of the dragon as well. Sandorix.
She pauses in her stirring for a beat, and then continues and says, that is who you found. Well,
Inside, okay.
that brings additional worry to what I am hearing. So you never heard it address anyone. You, Romok, you say you saw it with your own eyes, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you experience its dragon fear?
Oh, yes.
Did your companions have to drag you away, or were you able to overcome the fear and walk off of your own volition?
I was able to overcome the fear and make it out safely, but it was, if I'm being honest, I think rather close.
What of the Dawn you saw it doing battle with? Were any of them frightened so badly that they were unable to move, paralyzed in place, as it were? Or did they fight back?
Some did fight back. Most seemingly were cowering in fear when the breath weapon then took them. But there were at least a few lieutenants and the captain who did seem to at least be able to continue fighting.
But as you recall, most were frozen in place, unable to act.
Correct.
She kind of she ponders that for a minute, and then says, "Does Bromok's account ring true with the rest of you? Is there anything anyone wish to add?"
Well, we're still pretty far away. From what I can tell, none of them survived, at least.
Oh God, like fucking hated it, right, Leon? You were saying you had the
Oh, yeah.
heebie-jeebies. We had like this wild dude with
very
us as
scary.
well, and he wouldn't even like go in. He felt some like strange power there, I think.
It felt like an affront to
Again?
nature.
I can't remember. What was his name?
Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. His name was Oscar.
He was born.
He was a. What is the name of the Dampier? Or what is the official name?
Nemper, yeah.
Yeah,
But do we know that?
yeah, you figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, we figured that out. Oscar was a Dampier, a bit of a wild man. and he refused to even enter the ziggurat, sensing something inside that he couldn't speak to.
Interesting.
None of them.
Wild man had wild instincts.
None of them
Those
fled,
are not
though,
human.
right, Brom?
Mm,
I was worried.
None,
I
none of them
remember.
ran towards us. No,
Yeah, I remember
No.
being worried about that. But
it was quite. To be fair, again, it was very efficient with its breath weapon. Again, it killed the vast majority of the entire patrol in one swoop.
I did see that, though. It seems like their
pretty fucked
souls
up.
were the only one that remained and were sucked away.
I see. Perhaps if I explain the purpose of my inquiries more closely, it will help you shape your answers in a form that will help me understand better. You see, what you saw was almost certainly a ravener of some form. There are a few other things that it could have been, given the way Bromok has described what he's seen and what it was that you experienced there. You see, a ravener forms when a dragon, almost always of evil persuasion, seeks to artificially elongate its life beyond its natural end,
We
in pursuit of immortality.
we found evidence of this on the walls. There were pictures of its horde being destroyed or consumed, and a ritual of that nature.
This is indeed evidence that what you saw was a ravener of some form. However, this is what I am trying to ascertain. A ravener once formed. Part of its deal, its new existence, is that it must consume a steady supply of mortal souls in order to fuel its continued existence.
My fork drops.
A ravener that fails to do so becomes steadily more exhausted and depleted. Its soul ward, the occult force that protects its husky form from damage and death, decays away slowly but surely, until eventually a ravener that goes too long without consuming souls starves to death, or rather, not to death, but to a secondary, more basic form that we term a ravener husk. A ravener that has fallen to this form displays all of the combat characteristics you described, but crucially loses all sense of itself, is no longer the proud, mighty, intelligent beast that it once was, and more crucially even than that, in addition to losing much of its strength and power, cannot easily regain its original strength, its original form. In order to do so, it has to consume a more powerful, an extremely powerful, and ultimately good soul, which will reinvigorate it as its evil presence consumes that good life energy and allow it to be reborn as the original ravener that it once was, shucking off the husk-like state.
Worried that there's any fucking good souls down there.
Well, from as you described, none of the Forsworn that you saw were
Done.
not Forsworn, New Dawn. None of the New Dawn that you saw were either good nor powerful enough to trigger this transformation.
How often do they need? You said they needed that steady supply to keep their power. How steady we talking? Like dragons have a long fucking time. For them, it's steady once every year or two. Or...
A ravener deprived of access to any souls would starve in a few months less than a year.
Hmm.
It must have been down there longer than that, right? I kind of turned to the others. Like, there were big fuck-off doors on the outside that were still shut
Yeah.
when the Dawn were there.
This is what I was asking. You see, a Ravener that is in its true form, its aura of fear is much more powerful. Any mortal exposed to it is unlikely to be able to even move from the spot in which they were standing. Whereas a husk, while inspiring fear in all those who lay eyes on it, is less potent. It's a hunting tool for a true Ravener, you see. It can freeze an entire village and then pick off the souls at a leisurely pace, one by one, while the mortals are rendered completely incapable of escape.
Well,
So
we're pretty sure that this is an old temple. It has been there a long time. And it's, until recently, wasn't known. At least not to the Dawn.
Then
Maybe the higher ups sent these soldiers to the dragon, to the Ravener, for the precise feeling of feeding them.
But it had to be a good soul, right? Like, to bring it back, and no, why would they fucking send those evil bitches?
And the thing that
Who
confused me was that we got out of there pretty quick. But it didn't follow us. It didn't try to escape. It didn't. I thought it was awoken. But we were there for a while. And yet it was quiet. Maybe it's more animalistic than I thought.
well, that is news as good as we could hope given the facts of the situation. Let us drop pretense for a moment. I will tell you some facts about myself.
Got a notepad out?
All I know of the Sandorix. Myself and my family were once prominent authorities and custodians, perhaps even the prominent authority and custodian, although there is no such formal ranking system here in the Dragon Ward in Skuldlakavad in the days of Atlas. When the Dominion was established, I refused to swear loyalty to Lord Xavier after the war, and for that I was stripped of my post and authority, and while allowed to remain here, reduced to a much lesser status. I, perhaps more than any other elf, deeply resent the presence of chromatic dragons here in Drasvetiata. It is an abomination that I can barely sanction. I, however, know that I am regarded by our occupiers with deep suspicion, and can act only very subtly to subvert the goals of the Dominions. The Dominion's goals. But nevertheless, I offer aid to those of the ilk that I suspect you to be of. And she kind of regards you, solemnly for a moment, but I will not ask you to confirm nor deny that, for you are acting with the caution that is due. She sort of pauses and lets that sink in for a moment. Leon, she does seem honest to you. You feel that this is not only a moment of free speech, but also that she is almost tense in this. She realizes the risk that she's taking in speaking so openly.
Okay.
And
I'll use that silence to say, my apologies. I didn't realize your position. I'm not really used to meeting, prominent types, but it is an honor. Thank you for meeting us.
Before all this, I was well, friends would be too strong of a word. He had few mortals he would consider friends, but I was familiar with King Glader himself, the leader of the Gold Dragons, and I counted him amongst those I could trust. He has fled now, but...
Wait. Brom, you can see Leon like actually thinking, that other elven friend of ours, can you, the friend of your mother's, the one
You
we
put
talked
long
about?
ears.
Okay, that one, yes. Do you know if he's well? Do you know if he's alive?
I'm afraid I have no more information on that score than those you consort with. They have already asked what I might know, and while I did know the elf and would have counted him too amongst my friends, his disappearance was just as unexpected and unexplained to me as it was to everyone else.
I see.
With that out of the way, let me tell you what it is exactly I know about Sandorix, the dragon whose husk you found. For I do believe it was his husk. I believe if that had been the true Ravener form of Sandorix, as capable as I'm sure you are, we would not be having this conversation right now. Sandorix lived more than 2,000 years ago, perhaps as long as 3,000 years ago, and was possibly the mightiest red dragon ever known to have existed. You must understand, information from 1,000 years before recorded history is patchy, to say the least. But there are enough concurring accounts from several different cultural groups existing back then to confirm the main facts about his life. These are relatively common knowledge among draconic scholars. Information about his transformation into a Ravener and existence thereafter is much less well known, recorded only in a few rare tomes. Presumably he sought himself to keep it that way. The identity of the evil patron with whom he struck a deal for his immortality is not known to me or anyone else that I'm aware of, although such information would certainly prove useful in combating him if you came across it in his ziggurat.
No, I think back this picture. We always saw like evil spirits. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, you like nothing that your knowledge of any religion or history or anything sparked a sort of, oh yeah, I recognize the way those evil eyes are drawn. Like there were no symbols that sort of stuck anything to you. As far as you guys are aware, you just saw evil-looking, shadowy figures.
I'll say like if you've got some paper, I can try and draw them from memory. But
yeah, she looks like waves a hand and like a piece of paper sort of springs into existence and places it down in front of you and says, "Draw while I talk."
Okay.
Performance check.
There are
This isn't Waterdeep. You don't have to roll for anything.
There are no reliable sources about how he came to disappear. But according to legends that I have never fully trusted, he was finally subdued through guile, trickery, and at great personal cost by prehistoric humans, and sealed away to starve for eternity in a place unknown. From how you have described this ziggurat, I would say that that is it. From your direct observations, does that sound likely?
Yeah.
Does it seem that it was a place built to venerate him or to warn others away and keep him sealed there forever?
I think it was definitely intended to kind of get people to stay away, but just as like
one or
those...
the other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
hard
little
to
bit of
say,
both.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
there
it
was
looks evil
certainly
as fuck.
carvings and stuff telling his like life story and stuff.
Yeah.
But
like if you're an evil fuck, maybe you're like, oh, this is cool and I want to stay. But I think most people would want to stay the fuck away from it.
Yeah.
yeah, she takes that at it's like on the first time you've really spoken in the conversation back, so she kind of pays kind of like close attention to the way you describe it there. It says, then let us proceed for now under the assumption that the place where he was sealed to starve is where you found him, and that indeed what you saw was his Ravener husk. This is of grave concern, for even though he was in his diminished form, the fact that the Dominion have found him as such is troublesome in many ways. I am sure that slaughtering that captain and their unit could not possibly have returned him to his true glory for several reasons. Their moral fiber, their own individual power among them, but
Wait,
once the Dominion realizes what they have found, my heart tells me they will stop at nothing to
you're
restore
saying
his power and make a powerful ally of him.
you're gonna try and sacrifice someone good? And try and, like, ally with this thing?
What would he have to gain out of allying with the Dawn? Why would he, if he was actually smart, in his full form, why would he want to ally with them?
Ease of access, I guess.
And again, like many great dragons, the call for more treasure is still there.
The point you raise is good, Beck. It is difficult to imagine exactly what a Ravener as powerful as Sandorix might gain out of such a union. Perhaps they would extract oaths from him after restoring him, demanding loyalty and obedience, or at least compliance, in exchange for not being sealed away to starve again. An oath, once made with the denizens of hell, is powerfully binding, as I'm sure you are all aware. Perhaps they would find other motivations to lure him with. The promise of a steady supply of souls, as Bromok just suggested, would be one. A Ravener seeks, above all, to subvert death forever. I can imagine nothing that would tempt Sandorix more than the assured opportunity to never face starvation and becoming a husk ever again.
There's a good chance others in the Dawn do know about what's happening down there. So I don't...
So go.
It was known before they headed there. They sent messages. It would have been spread among whatever command chain they have, I think. So the hope of closing down the door and hoping that they won't search is a vain one.
How? Okay, I mean, all this talk about legendary dragons and ravagers and how insane, just how strong we're talking. Like, if he was at full strength, would he be strong enough to rival the entirety of the Dominion? Like, just how powerful are we talking?
The entirety of the Dominion would consider him a threat, if not a true rival. If he were not adequately under their control, he would certainly be on a level that would rival the personal power of the Pit Fiend, the Pit Lord Xavier himself, and his most powerful servants, possibly even surpassing them, depending on exactly what abilities he has gained over his millennia since becoming a Ravener, and exactly what contracts they might use to bind his power. Even reduced to a mindless husk, as I'm sure you got a sense for, Sandorix could be a foe beyond yourselves, as capable as I'm sure you are. Formidable adventurers that you might be.
We will need an army.
An army, alas. An army that would work with you does not exist in the Dominion these days. If it did, the Dominion would view it as a major source of potential rivals and seek to combat them sooner rather than later.
So,
No, if you would seek to undo Sandorix, destroy his Ravener form and send him from this plane forever, that he might never be raised again, your best odds of success, and these are slim, would be to destroy him by magically undoing his ravenous reanimation. To counter that ritual, however, would require... It would not be easy. And the tools you would require are almost certainly out of your reach. I would not know where to suggest finding them. This is a troubling situation, to be certain.
It might be like a bit of a, I don't know, fucking stupid thing to say, but you know the saying, the enemy is my friend. Like, there's enough souls in the fucking Order of Dawn to keep a Ravager busy for aeons, right?
That's your point, Beck.
Right now,
Only-
the Resistance is nowhere near powerful enough to rival anything high up in the Dominion. This is a potential threat to them, which means it's a potential benefit to us, no?
She she regards the sort of openness of your statement, sort of contemplatively for like a good few seconds. I almost want to interject at this point, like, and talk back to Beck. She doesn't immediately respond, but she's clearly thinking about it.
I'll say, you might be right, but I don't feel good about allying with something that doesn't care about one soul or the other. If it's indiscriminate about who it attacks and eats, if we can't
But it's
control
smart,
that.
right? Like, dragons are
Well, not right now, it
intelligent.
isn't.
No, not right now, but I mean, if I'm talking about the point where if it became a smart creature again, if it's something that... Look, all I'm saying is, you're saying it's powerful enough to fucking be a threat to Xavier. No one in Resistance is even close to that level, right? And they probably will never be in as a singular force. This kind of strength isn't something I think you can just ignore the possibility of.
The Resistance leaders are skilled combatants, but I think what you say is true. Still, it is almost unthinkable that the Order of the Dawn would revert it, would allow Sandorix to regain his power without being first certain that they could make an ally of him, however long that would take.
No, I'm saying we give Sandorix back his power, and therefore we get the first crack at convincing him.
Difference is, right, we have no way to hold him to those oaths. The Devil's bargain, the agreement that they would be signed, would almost all but guarantee his obedience or his allegiance. Anything we do would basically just be on the word of someone who refused to die.
It's not impossible that you would find a way, I suppose. But the only way to restore Sandorix to his form would be to allow him to consume an immensely powerful good soul. These things are hard to quantify, but if you were to choose a wizard, I would want one that was capable of replicating magical effects of at least the 7th or even 8th order before I would consider them have enough life force within them.
What does that work out to in
Yeah, like, all right,
levels?
yeah, in terms of, I'm not a mage user. Like, I mean, is that even a thing that normal people like myself can become? Like, how is life force quantified?
I am almost of that level, but I would consider myself not a sure thing to allow Sandorix to regain his power. There are 10 orders of magic, increasing in power. Very, very few mortals have ever gained the ability to reproduce magics of the 10th order. Euclid Longears, whom you named earlier, was among them. The 7th or 8th, however, they are more common, but still rare, even amongst the resistance. In order to restore Sandorix to that form, would require the sacrifice of someone who themselves would unquestionably be a useful asset in an extremely useful asset in the fight against the Dominion, more so than the potential. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself a little, but you see my point.
And that sacrifice
There's very few
just
that
to
would-
make a bargain with the mightiest red dragon that is now undead. That's a risky gamble.
Can't imagine how we'd ever get as powerful threat to the Dominion, though.
I don't disagree about the threat that it poses, but it's just that this is a two-edged sword. The threat is just as great for the innocent in this world.
I mean, how are the devils able to create oaths to combine them, but we're unable to? Is a powerful spellcaster not able to make similar oaths and bind it to us instead?
There are ways that such assurances could be sought within the realms of magic, but when it comes to binding someone to an oath by a contract, alas, the forces of hell certainly have us at a disadvantage. It is something of a specialty of theirs. I'm not saying it could not be done, but seeking the means to do such a thing would be means that could bind a being as powerful as Sandorix to his word would present a whole extra level of difficulty.
In a shrug.
Alright, well, we're information gatherers at this point. I don't think we're as keen as our minds are. I don't think we're going to be the ones cracking this problem.
But you
But
said that
is there anything you can tell us at all about the other option, the one of destroying Sandorix by turning this ritual around? Is there any place you can point us? Anyone, perhaps?
If you wish to undo his ravenous reanimation, then you will first need to seek the aid of another dragon. A good dragon of a metallic flight. If you were able to find one in their lair and convince them of the nobility and purpose of your mission, they would be able to grant you powerful relics through which you would be able to harness an eventual power in order to undo.
Interesting that you mentioned that.
maybe we should have mentioned this earlier when we were chatting, To the dragon specialist, it might have been an interesting idea to bring up.
I was focusing
Are you
on the
familiar
destruction
with,
of the world and innocence.
The great bronze dragon Islamera.
I am, yes. What of her?
I kind of
Well, as fate would have it, we met her before she passed.
as a that talking, I kind of take off my necklace and basically toss it to her. It's this one of those fucking relics things you're talking about. Can you tell?
Yeah, her eyes kind of narrow towards you, Bromok, and she definitely catches your necklace out of the air and says, "Continue with your tale of the time you met Islamira."
Yeah,
she
so-
examines the necklace you passed her.
In part because in real life that was months ago.
Yeah.
We just basically described, we went down into these caves basically after Beck and Zoms freed Leon and I from captivity. Down there, we ended up coming upon her lair, her library of equipment and everything.
She had this thing that she reanimated when somebody claimed nearby. She was in a perpetual sleep until someone had discovered her. Was the kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
and she also had that
She knew
prophecy
she
where
was
she
at the
would
end of
she
her
would
life,
pass, but before she passed, she would find a group
Yeah.
that was meant
Oh,
for
yeah.
greatness, and we had to declare ourselves. And-
Yeah, some bullshit about prophecy and
But she did, again, gift upon each of us a relic of which you
Yeah.
speak.
It's, I guess, I don't know exactly how it works, but it seems, I don't know. let me harness some of the anger I feel inside myself and grow more powerful. The need is right.
Silmira,
As we've
on
taken
her
on.
deathbed, gave you voluntarily each an ancient relic from her hoard.
Sounds about right,
It
yes.
was a surprising day.
Did she
Larry.
describe these relics to you in any detail? Are they common magical items, or
No, she did speak quite highly of them in the way of like almost an epic item that
Wait,
would
Black-
grow in power as we ourselves took on new challenges and increased our own
Blackbird, actually, you
abilities.
told us more about them, right? How they would get stronger with us, I think.
Yeah, Blackbird speaks up at this point and says, "Yes, I myself have worked with these four to help them tap further into the power of the relics they carried that I sensed when I first met with them. The ritual of awakening to bring forth further power that I sensed they had the potential to unlock. I intend to work with them further. Why? Are you saying these relics have some deeper purpose?" Lady Wormskull considers. She's looking very closely at the dragon tooth pendant you've handed her. Before handing it back to you, Beck, and
Put on
says, "It would seem, yeah, but actually shit back on real fast. It would seem, indeed, that destiny has more tricks to play than I had imagined. Very well. You have already overcome the first and one of the more difficult steps.
Wrong order. We did the quest in wrong order, guys. Oh my
This is why I
In
always
this,
explore first.
god.
in this potential solution to the problem. The next step, however, I fear may prove more difficult, if not harder to exactly come across. Your relics will need further empowerment before they are able to channel the energy that could undo a ravenous reanimation. And for this, you will need to visit aspects of the past of each of your relics and witness events that their previous owners witnessed at the height of their might, so that more energy might flow from them into you. Of course, visiting the past is no small feat of magic. If it were easily done, there are many things that one could more reasonably attempt to go back and alter than simply visiting a past event. However, if you need only to witness an event, there is a magical tool, one potentially accessible to you, that would allow you to do so. And you hear a kind of like a noise of recognition from Blackbird, like she sort of guessed where the conversation is going, as Lady Wormskull continues. If you were able to visit important locations from the history of your relics with the mirror of a remembrancer, that is, a diviner whose power was allowed them to look into the past rather than to the future, you would find there a test of your worth, and if you were to overcome it, your relic would be empowered. One would potentially, with a slim chance, be enough, but the more of your relics that you were able to empower, the greater your odds would be of being able to undo this ravenous reanimation and return the husk of Sandorix back to naught more than a pile of bones.
Alright.
Where would we find such a diviner?
There are no more remembrances, unfortunately. The last remembrancer was a half-elf named Lyrael, who died more than 500 years ago. Her mirror was buried with her in a hidden tomb beneath a mountain near Lysandaroth in Deepwood, which is the elven city to the north of here. There is one of a lineage particularly attuned to that place, Claire Shadowrunner, who lives just downriver from Lysandaroth, the last I knew, although that was some years ago. She would know the exact location of Lyrael's tomb, although convincing her to part with that information would not be easy, in my judgment.
Sorry, I think you lost me at some point along the way. We had to relive important places of the past in regards to the relics.
Yes,
Remember the dragon? She told me a story of the shield, the shield being used for good and protecting those that could not protect themselves in an epic fashion long ago.
Yeah.
Perhaps that is what they mean.
Sorry, but this remembrance, how exactly does that work?
A remembrancer is a practitioner of a magic akin to divination magic that allows them to look into the past rather than the future. Their greatest tool in their art is their mirror, dubbed the Remembrancer's Mirror when discussed by scholars. With one, you would be able to travel to locations of important to the past of your personal relics.
New vague locations, would we still need this mirror or whatever? I
you would need them in addition.
Stories. Okay.
And I'm afraid, in fact, in addition to finding a Remembrancer's Mirror that would allow you to access the threads of time and relive those elements of the past, you would additionally need to spend time learning more of the history of your relics to determine where you might face the trials, the most mighty trials that each of your historical patrons experience in their lives.
I remember I did a bit of research into my relic when I was in the place, but the place is it mentioned a place called the Darklands. I don't even know what the place is.
I know a tiny bit about the Darklands. But that's
way better than Shadowlands, that's for sure.
Wait, but there's a question I have as well. Even if we found this mirror, if there's no one to use it anymore, if these diviners don't exist anymore, how would we even use it?
With the mirror and the relic in the right location, and I cannot promise this to be the case, but the temporal energy in such a place with the relic returned to it should be enough that you would be, and again, I have never seen or used a Remembrancer's Mirror myself, but you should be able to find a way to utilize the artifact, perhaps even travel into the mirror itself or cast a reflection of happenings onto the space in which you stand, enough to experience the truth of your relic's past again, and in doing so reveal a greater aspect of their power.
I'm no spellcaster. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, harness the temporal energy or any of that crap.
Again, I think to her point, we need to get the mirror first.
Right.
Once we know a pretty, we feel confident in at least one location of great significance, if not the greatest significance to our relics, we go there with both of them, and the test hopefully happens.
Alright.
I don't know what else there is.
There are scholars who know more of the history of the Remembrances than I do. Perhaps speaking with one of them might reveal more about to what use it could be put.
Maybe we see if we can get the mirror first.
Out of curiosity, of course, and also for assistance, who are these scholars? Who would we go seek?
I know of none here in Drasvatiata. Perhaps Haven or New Pandemonium, if you have the stomach to travel there, would have learned sages of such ancient and ancestral understandings.
I reckon we're getting ahead of ourselves again, I feel.
But I do take back my words. It sounds like we're going to be the ones that are cracking this nut.
As I said, destiny has a funny way of lining things up. The fact that you have come here to speak with me, already bearing relics that were granted to you by a dragon of bronze.
I told you, Beck. This can't. I mean, it can, but it can't be coincidence, right? In our position, we're on a path. A path that will lead to some good. I can feel it.
Let's hope so.
That we're the ones in this position with the power to undo that evil.
Chris, could we quickly go back to the world map, by the way?
Yeah. I mean, as useful as this map is.
Right.
I still refuse to believe my entire life is predestined and I have no choice in it, Leon.
Key is you do have a choice.
And yet
I didn't. I would force to. Are you saying I was forced to walk into that lair that day?
No. That's the
No,
beauty.
That's what I'm
My
saying.
life.
You have choice. You chose to accept it. You chose to speak with us in there. You chose to continue on this path. Choose to
And that's
fight
the
that
beauty
you
of
have.
fate, I think.
I didn't. I didn't choose for my life to turn out this way. I assure you.
But yet, you won't walk away, right? That's the
I know
beauty
I
of it,
would.
I think. We're not chosen because of what we are. We're chosen because of the decisions that we make. They're connected. I'll convince you yet, my friend, I swear.
This Beck just downs a stein again.
You
Getting
have
started earlier.
You
Popping
have
hardwood
a-
eggs like they're grapes just in my mouth.
You have a healthy skepticism, Beck,
Mm.
and it will serve you well. You're right. Nothing about your life is predetermined. Fate does not work that way. You could
Yes.
fall out of your air canoe on the way from this place and be killed by a chance bad landing. These things could happen.
Tug on my collar.
Fate is not so certain as all that, but it does lay certain trails, allow certain outcomes, certain forks to present itself to certain individuals, and see what choices they make and what roads they go down.
My mother once told me of some old friends of hers that had similar, maybe a fated path that didn't work out for them.
Or maybe it yet will, if she was referring to the same individuals as I believe she was.
I guess
So,
we'll see.
all we have to do is not fail.
That
Easy
is the
enough.
trick.
This is a lot of pressure.
I mean, we haven't so far.
A lot of pressure.
Just keep throwing bombs. We'll be fine.
Alright, what about finding more information about our items, our artifacts? Could we... I know this city is a place of history, of knowledge. Would it be safe for us to try and find out more about it here?
At this point, Blackbird speaks up before Lady Wormscald can respond and says, I feel I have something of a stake in this, and I've always been more of a seeker of knowledge and researcher than a adventurer traveling the roads. If you were to travel to Lysandroth and seek this mirror, I think it might be wise for me to remain here in Greenheart and see what information I could dig up. If you give me a brief history of the knowledge you have about each of your artifacts, by the time you return, I assume it would be at least a week from now, I may have discovered something of import or use about any or all of them. I have experience digging up esoteric pieces of knowledge once thought long lost.
I'm sure you do a damn better job at it than me. Look, there's another thing to think about. This is like, I mean, we have orders what our mission is, right? Like, can we just be like, oh, new plan. This is for the best. We're gonna become the heroes of the fucking world. You know, we have orders.
I said, Beck, that is very funny coming from you. No, I mean no offense by that. It's just
I've always done what I was.
as the person who's always bristled against our orders before.
I bristled against our orders. I kind of found like when.
A few times when we have to choose a path of inaction rather than action.
I mean, we were never directly told not to fight people.
Goes against the spirit of
It
things,
doesn't
though,
really
right?
matter, but I think the key is we were given a little bit of leeway with our orders. It was to get all the information we need here regarding Centaurix, the Ravener. And if that includes more information in Lysandroth, I don't think that's too terrible.
All right, but like, if we die in Lysandroth, who tells the resistance about what we learned here today?
Look at Blackbird.
I
I guess we can make an agreement if we do not return within a time.
She kind of nods solemnly and says, if the journey is all that risky, it would be certainly prudent to have a...
In our travel alone, every fucking night is risky.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point in that maybe we should tell someone already, like, the Dawn are gonna act, and they're gonna act quick, I think. I don't know if we, without any interference, have the time to take a trip. If they're gonna be busy sacrificing and parlaying, so to say.
But how do we stop them? The resistance doesn't have any sort of way to have an actual frontal, defense of, the ziggurat. It's not like we can stop them if they figure out what is happening.
I think the Dawn will not easily... This is now Lady Wormscott speaking. I think the Dawn will not easily find a source of power that they can feed to Sandorix in order to restore him to his form, if only because they made such a thorough job themselves of eliminating all such good inclined sources of power from this land. In order to do so, in my estimation, they would need to capture potentially one of the resistance leaders or one of their immediate subordinates. Those would be their most likely choices, and the Order of the Dawn is already working their hardest to capture those individuals. I'm not sure what efforts they could potentially redouble. My point is that...
There's no real rush. Well, there's no...
Yes, that it creates a situation in which it is possibly even more dangerous now than it ever has been before if the Resistance leadership were captured by the Order of the Dawn, but given that they're already making every effort they can to not be captured, it's unlikely that the Order of the Dawn is already rushing a suitable sacrifice to the ziggurat in order to
Do you
form the
reckon?
ritual.
Do you not reckon maybe the Order of the Dawn are desperate enough, or at least willing to sacrifice any strong, good-willed people they find, just in the hope that it would work?
I'm certain that they will be trying that, but they are, as much as I hate to admit it, they have learned scholars amongst themselves who know almost as much about Raveners as I do. I think they have a strong inclination of exactly what they're looking for, and while I wouldn't put it past them to simply trot out individuals one by one in the hopes that any of them would work, they certainly have no qualms about treating people like that. They will understand the difficulties that they are facing.
It wouldn't hurt to get a message out to anyone we know, perhaps to Godshold. Just in the case that we can, or the
Just too
resist.
risky to send a message like that.
Well,
This
yeah,
much information.
it would have to be in person.
We'd have to, yeah.
Or with magic.
Lady Wormscott looks conflicted for a moment. She's clearly planning her next words very carefully. while you guys are talking, and then says eventually, there is an individual, and I shall reveal no more of their identity than that, for solemn oaths that I have sworn. But an individual that I would trust to bring a message securely and safely anywhere in the Dominion that it needed to get. If you
Inside
can
check.
trust me, I can trust them.
I mean, we've already trusted you enough.
With most of what we know, yeah.
If you're not on our side, then you could easily lead us to death or worse.
Likewise, we have trusted each other. Yeah, Leon, you get the sense that she already kind of feels like she might. What are you just rolling on these fucking perception checks, man? Just like, do you have natural dice under 15? Like, Jesus. She's like, yeah, you get the sense that she's already uncomfortable with the having just revealed the
Yeah.
existence of the person she's even
Yeah.
talking about. But she seems very honest. In fact, possibly, so desperately honest. With
Wait a
her,
minute, you're too
with
honest.
her, with her assertion that whoever she's talking about can be trusted. Like, she seems very, very confident in that.
I mean, if it's true, it'd probably be the best way to get a message out, I guess. But what would we even say in such a thing? Like,
Well, for one, no offense, Blackbird, but I think our trip towards the Dwarven lands is gonna be delayed a little bit. I think we've got bigger fish to fry right now. And obviously, we should tell as much as we can, as much as is safe about what's hidden in the Valinor Forest. Or what's
alright.
Blackbird shrugs and says that. I mean, you're my direct commanders. That's your call to make. And besides, who knows where who knows where we might have to travel to find these ancient sites to empower the relics that you have on you. You, Beck, already mentioned that we might potentially have to travel to the Darklands to find where your patron sought his greatest battle.
I leave no story from there, yeah.
The only entrance to the Darklands that I myself am certainly aware exists in this world is below Deep Tower, which is itself deep in the heart of the Greyrock Kingdom.
I see.
I mean, without a doubt, there are others around, and if you were to fight a denizen of the Darklands again in your journeys, as you have mentioned, you have come across several in the past, it would be, wise, given the current circumstances, to potentially try and find out from them, or even follow them back, or utilize them as a tool in some respects to discover a way there. But that failing, if we do indeed need to travel to the Darklands, I know of nowhere we could do it other than in Greyrock.
Which, by the way, out of game, that's where we were supposed to take her.
Yeah.
So
that was a mission before the whole on that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Alright, look, I mean, it sounds like the best thing to do, right, is just get on with it, I guess, then. Fucking head up to the sign, we'll find his fucking mirror.
well,
and
to start
we'll
with, we find the ancestor, right? Check my notes.
Klaya Shadowrunner.
Klaya Shadowrunner.
Yes, she. Again, sorry, I've got two female NPCs here. This is
Yeah.
this is again Lady
Yeah.
Wormscar talking. Like, yes, she is. The Shadowrunners were the noble house that ruled Lysanderoth and Deepwood in the days before Atlas fell and became the Infernal Material Dominion. She herself was not a member of one of the four great houses and was spared the purge that swept over the land, but when all nobility was declared defunct, and all land and control of the law and legal system was passed over to the Order of the Dawn, she was greatly reduced and sent away, or sent herself away to live on the edge of Lysanderoth. She is, as far as I'm aware, she or her other members of her family are the only ones who would know for certain where the tomb of Lyriel is.
Alright. Well,
I guess
clarity.
We'll say, visit, yeah. Well, we write a message that explains basically what the ladies told us here. Have that sent to Godsword.
I think that'll do fine, yeah.
Alright.
Any other questions we should ask? I'm sorry, my mind is a bit fumbled right now.
Dude, you fucking got
I'm
me.
confused. I don't know.
On the road, then.
Yeah, give me a fucking place I can go to and let me not worry about anything else. Send me
Well,
a clear objective and...
For myself, I will, and this lady, again, Lady Worm's got talking, I will search my repositories of knowledge and conduct careful investigations to find out more exactly about how it is you might use your relics once you have empowered them to undo this ravenous reanimation. I know only the theory of that it may be possible, not precisely how it would be performed.
Has it ever been done? Do you know? Like in the history of whatever fucking dragon kind?
Legendarily, yes, but I could not point you to a trusted historical source that lists exactly where, when, and how it was performed. Only that in the past, with the correct application of the legendary power of other dragons, yes, a ravenous reanimation ritual has been reversed. And that indeed would be your best bet of preventing Sandorix from ever regaining his true strength. I do not think that facing him, even in his husk form, and let me be clear, if you were... A Ravener is ultimately vulnerable as a husk, so if all else fails, and you were simply able to find enough powerful allies to do battle with Sandorix's husk and destroy him, that would also cause him to be gone forever. Such a foe is not easily defeated in battle, not by a long shot, especially not if the Order of the Dawn knows exactly where it is and is protecting it until the day that they might be able to restore him to his true power.
Alright, so we'll send off it is.
That it is. I grab my knees and say,
Yeah, like
already-
at this point, like, you know, most of the food, at least in front of where you guys
Dude,
are
all the
sitting,
eggs
is
are
like
gone.
consumed.
Like,
Like the bread baskets are empty. Bread baskets from other parts of the table, you know, like a stack of empty butter plates in front of Beck. You know, like,
Yeah, like-
this has gone through blocks.
I'm
of
doing
Lift
something
it-
nasty, way. I dip the egg in the butter and just
Oh!
eat it, you know?
like lifting the egg bowl, like shaking it. It's
No, no, I'm
Like-
popping them. They're like grapes. I like pick one up, kind of pop them in one at a time, you know?
Okay.
Just like chomp on a block of butter, like a chocolate bar, like, you know.
No.
Gotta get the fucking, you know, I spent
That actually reminds me of for the small town I lived down the islands. There was people there because they're really poor. They'd be like, here, and like they just have like basic ass white bread, and then they would just do like a thick thing of butter. So
Oh, yeah.
it'd literally be a butter sandwich.
It's the way
What do you
forward.
mean? It's a classic.
It's a lot of,
Come on, man.
fat
Not
storage.
when it's just like it's
Dude, American bread is
not-
awful though. You
Yeah.
guys
it's,
are worse
yeah,
bread.
like American white bread is so
Yeah.
terrible.
Baguette with butter?
Again, I don't mind butter on breads, right? That's not the problem. Is like it's like that thick of butter over the
I'm
entire
not a
sandwich.
fan of butter in general, really.
Dude, butter's
Yeah,
good.
me
Good
neither.
quality
Butter's
butter.
what you
is
talking
good.
about.
Good quality butter.
Fantastic.
Anchor
No, it's just
butter,
kind of
that's-
like
Go
fucks
like-
with it.
Get out of here.
Go to like northern France, eat just like bread and butter. It's like the
Dude, I'm pretty close to northern France.
Like,
Dude,
go-
your
go-
stupid
go-
lowland flooded butter.
Yeah, just go get one on a good French baguette. Call it
Just
a day.
because you only eat dolphin butter. You don't have any regular cow
You do not
butter.
have like 2-inch thick mayonnaise, Jack.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, you guys have finish.
Yeah, I'll say.
He sort of stands up and well, no,
Thanks
she's
for
already
the
standing,
meal.
but she says, "Well, that was by far and away the most interesting lunch I've hosted in a while. And please, when you do pass through Greenheart again, be sure to check in. I would be interested in hearing at least some details of what you've got up to, if only to sate my own interest."
Sure.
Thank
Lady
you, Lady Wormskull.
Wormskull,
Yes,
I have to say, I kind of stand up at this point as well. Like, our path may be difficult, some would say nearly impossible, but you've given us a beacon on the path that we have to take, and I cannot thank you enough for it. My
In
gratitude.
these times, everyone needs a beacon, don't they?
Yes, and some have lost the ability to search for it.
The beacons are lit. Northwood calls for aid. What
I
is the
trust you
process
are,
again? Oh, go ahead.
I trust you're capable of seeing yourselves out.
Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
Then, until we meet again, it was truly a pleasure. And if you see your mother before I see her, Bromok, do give her my regards.
I shall.
I'll do a deeper bow this time.
Not my head.
And then what's the process again for getting our war horses, since we want to exit out a different path than we entered?
You need to. There's a way of like relaying to someone that you know like the information. You just need to tell them like at least a day in advance. Hey, we're leaving. On this road tomorrow, and they can make sure that they're there for you.
Yeah.
As we start head out, I'd so we leave tomorrow as soon as possible.
Yeah. So maybe if I can, send the message from here, basically just to head to as much notice as possible.
That's completely doable. As you're doing that, Blackbird says, and what of myself? Shall I remain here to do the research as we discussed, or would you like me to travel to Lysanderoth with you?
I reckon research. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
might as well get
It's
two
probably
birds
an
with
area
once.
the four of us are not the most inclined to, if we're being honest.
I have
So
long sought an opportunity or excuse to seek out the great repositories of knowledge here in Greenheart. She kind of smiles warmly and says, "You've given me something to be very happy about."
I mean,
I'll try not to get too distracted from researching your relics.
I learned, I don't know, I think it's a good chunk about where this necklace came from, but I guess I'll
Tell me of it. Tell me of it tonight when I have the opportunity to write stuff down. I can make notes and then go away and research them.
Yeah.
I'll need to know everything you can tell me about your relics, so that I know where to begin in discovering their histories.
Sounds good.
Okay, so you guys, unless anyone else wants to say something right now, which is perfectly legit, but otherwise you guys, spiral back up.
I have one pint. I have 2 mugs a day. Then I stop. I just.
Okay.
It was a lot
While we're walking out, I'll say, Brom, I realize your mother was important, but I guess I didn't quite catch how high up the chain she might have been.
I kind of thought she was dead until they said when you see them.
no,
But it's good to hear if that's the case.
I just haven't seen her in quite some time. With things, and they're since the way they are.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's gonna be quite a meeting then.
Let's hope we're alive.
Yeah, hopefully.
So you guys head back up to the upper level. Load up into the air canoe, and soon swiftly on your way out of the Dragon Ward.
As we kind of go, I turn his arms. I'm like, I bet you wish you'd be assigned different mission now, right?
Very much a little bit. Feel capable
Very
enough.
much a little bit.
Yeah, when they told us to go catch these to go save these 2 fools, I didn't really think it would end up this way. I'll be honest.
No, not even remotely so. Aye.
I mean, the things we've seen,
I don't
the
think
paths we've
anyone-
taken, the mugs of ale we've drank.
Right.
There's
But
positives
at the
about
same
it.
time,
Come on.
I want everyone here to make the choice to go into this, right? I don't want you to feel like you have to, because you don't.
It's true.
Fate or not, you have the choice in this.
Now I have the choice.
And you had in the past as well.
We don't have much choice in
There are times in your
necessarily
life
a
you
lot of our past.
Leon.
True. I don't think anyone's denying that. It's just more of the decisions you do have, you get to choose.
I'm gonna go get some more ice real quick. You guys keep
Yeah.
the roll.
There was once a famous hobbit. I think he said something like, "You do not choose the time you're born into, but you choose what to do with that time." And so was that it? It was
Something like that, yeah.
I
think
thought
there
I was
is-
a wizard, not a hobbit.
Very wise.
You don't choose what time. What was the line?
You don't get to choose how much time you have, just get to choose how you spend the time you've been given. But I think that's the
definitely-
sentiment of it.
that's-
But
I think it's something different.
It's slightly different, I think.
In any case, I think the message seems similar enough. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's like I wish. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was.
But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us.
Yeah, but I thought there was something more about the choice. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe it's only in the mix up.
I mean, there's also the conversation about like choosing to.
Yeah, there's one with Sam where he's like, there were lots of the people who could have chosen to step back, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say to the group, I guess. Look, Zoms, I realize the past that we've traveled together hasn't been always the easiest, and I'm thankful for the time we've been given together and the support you've given. But
Try.
truth be told, I'm feeling better than I ever have about the actions I've taken and the strength that's been given to me in enacting. So I hope you feel the same, or at least will in the future. And speaking of, I must admit, I thought I felt a bit similar towards as you did back, with strings being pulled on me by this deity, this goddess that I didn't quite like. I wasn't sure the path she had in mind for me was the same that I wanted to walk. However, today is one where I've regained a bit of faith. So I think I will try and find out what exactly is in store for me here. If you want to join me, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you back at our home.
But wait, did you tell us, by the way, about that urge earlier?
Yeah, like at the end of last session.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to quote more Lord of the Rings. Where was that one? It's
Don't go where I can't
faithless
follow.
is he who says farewell when the road darkens. Like Gimli.
Wait,
What did
did
you say
it?
that?
Just faithless is he who says farewell when the road
Oh,
darkens.
that's when they go into the path
Yeah.
of the dead.
Oh, yeah.
Just because
That's the
the
opposite of Rose Lining now, right? If he's going like the place he wants the god to go, that's too easy.
Yeah.
Wait, but did you say where it was? They were like,
No, I don't really know where it is. I just know it's somewhere.
I think it's just to the south. Hex,
you reckon,
if I recall.
what if it takes longer than a day's travel? Are you gonna be at the room tonight?
Oh yeah, I don't want to sacrifice this important goal for my personal journey. That would be incredibly selfish of me. No, I will join you tonight so that we can travel tomorrow at an early rise. But
If you don't mind, I shall join you.
I got nothing else to do today. I guess I might
Yeah.
see what your god has fucking in store for you.
I'd be glad for
Sure.
your company.
Let's go. There's nothing. Yeah.
Chris, I've decided to go to where my god wants me to go.
Yeah, so if Blackbird doesn't know how to use the thing, I help her to take that back to where we're staying, and then we...
Yeah, she's like, yeah, she wants to go and get a get a head start on what she's doing. You know, like
Yeah.
make a list of places she should go, and
Yeah.
so she, you know.
Oh yeah, I'll say to Blackwood like, I officially charge you with blah 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 blah.
Okay,
Oh, right.
your last one, but like, right.
You had officially
Noted.
charged us. Leon.
Oh no, I mean, I'm not really in control of you, am I?
Sure, I don't know. I think technically you're.
I don't even know if Beck's in control of Beck.
You know.
I think in the eyes of the Resistance, Brom is our leader.
No, I think I said
No.
you.
Oh,
No, they said we choose amongst and then we voted you, right?
was I there for
I
this
don't think we ever
conversation?
really did.
We kind of talked about it a little bit, right? And we said we didn't really know it would probably be you doing the talking at least. But depends who you're talking to, I think.
Hmm.
Right.
They wanted
Hmm.
someone who was accountable. I think technically it was still me because when we left there was no one else there. But then we said we'd talk about it more and tell them. But you know, it looks like we'll probably never fucking talk to them again. So
Nah. It's fine. I don't think we need a leader per
oh,
se.
also, now we needed to write the message right and give it to the Lady Wormsgold, right? Like before we had.
I'm assuming we did that while we
did.
were there.
Okay, we did.
No.
So
Because, yeah,
who writes it?
Leon.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Not nice handwriting.
The baby doesn't. He can write, unlike me. Alright, lead the way, Leon.
Right, yeah, so I don't quite remember where it was pulling me. George said it was like in the southern hex. Is that correct?
Like it was like southeast when we entered this first hex of the city.
Yeah,
But
so,
maybe
yeah.
I'm misremembering.
Remember. Yeah, I mean, you don't even know exactly where you're heading. Not enough to
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like what where you should take the wind boat. So
So
you
it's
know
best
where-
like
know what
to.
Port Root's in. Yeah, there's a. I mean, okay, you know you do a bit of sort of Green Heart research. I mean, you've been here a little while. You're kind of getting the hang of the city now. You know that the hex you entered by is Niernen Abaduvarden, which is the orchard of the Guardians, which is the religious district of Greenheart, which plays home to veneration of all major and minor deities worshipped in Atlas. The trees there have paper white trunks and jet black foliage, and a respectful quiet hangs in the air.
Dude, I went back to my part 1 notes and it's still there. There's Iron Oaks, there's Elfwood, there's Vergiftax Fate, there's Orchard. Oh, maybe that's not there anymore because that was a force from Garrison. There's an Orchard of the Guardian and Hellgrind.
So it's probably in that first hex then. Just
You make your way kind of central somewhere there, and then proceed on foot.
Hmm.
where his body's telling him yes.
By my body.
To where you're gonna have like this general sense that you know you should go.
Yeah, there's a sure step on my foot. And a smile
Follow
on my
your heart.
face.
It's full Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Dancing down the road.
Can hear the music in my head.
Can you? Which, by the way, I finished the new Miles Morales last night
You got
on
through that quick.
PS5.
Good
So
time.
good. So good.
Yeah, so you pass through on your way. Oh, I got the wrong tool out. I drew a thing. You pass through Hellgrind. Which is the weird kind of spiritual, like relating to the afterlife realm of the elf city.
Okay.
And arrive, yeah, like there's not like a strict real border between Hellgrind and the Orchard of the Guardians, but they are sort of distinct districts, even if they're related in a lot of ways. And yeah, you proceed on foot with Leon sort of leading the way by sense. Yeah, so far, like it when you're traveling, by wind boat, it's deceptively compact. When you have to circumnavigate these enormous trees on foot, as very few people tend to, it really does feel like it's taking fucking ages to get anywhere. So you sort of walk for a good hour or so.
But while we're on foot, how much dawn is there that we see?
Almost none.
Okay, in that case, I'll turn to Beck, and I'm like, do you mind if I take out my spear for this? It only feels right.
Oh yeah, sure, you do what you want. I kind of, you know, proffer him the bag.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take out my spear and hold it as I'm walking.
Mm. You continue onwards. Navigating these large trees. Occasionally, you see one of them has like a couple of New Dawn guarding like the base or like the route up to like the flight platforms or whatever. So you keep a wide berth of them. Don't like make the spear obvious to them or whatever, and it's easy enough. You don't think anyone notices it.
It's not like there's a striking rune on it, so it's fine.
No one like immediately rushes over and asks to. What is it? What runes does it have on it?
That's a +1 potency.
Yeah, just +1 potency. Cool. Yeah, so you travel, and eventually you come to passing like many shrines, and like lesser, like even some actual like little stone-built temples, depending on the deity. It's not all grown out of trees here. But yeah, eventually you come to a small lake, a pond, lake. I don't know what we use. How do you define these things? Probably like 500 feet across. Like it's quite round. It looks natural, but
Bigger than a pond, definitely.
Yeah. And in the middle of it, there is an island with the grove of smaller trees growing on it. I mean, but bear in mind that there's these sort of like 500, 600, 700 foot tall like behemoths that make up most of the city. There's a much more normal like sort of like an apple orchard almost, or like growing on this island in the middle of this large lake, a small lake. I don't know, 500 feet across, whatever. You guys got it.
Lake.
It's a medium-sized lake, I think.
With a set of like stepping stones. Each space only a couple of feet apart. It's not that hard for you guys, except for probably zombies to get between them. And you'd have to navigate them about 50, 60 feet out to reach this island. Like the island takes up most of the central part of the lake. It's not like a tiny little like dot in the middle. It's it's more like an island.
But there's stepping stones over the water to the island?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
And you get the sort of sense that that's where you're being drawn.
All right. Well, yeah. Do I get a sense? Yeah, it's probably pretty sacred ground. So look, I don't think I can do harm if you guys join me. I think in all things, this deity, I think her name is Cernia. She's pretty free in rules and tradition.
Great. Sounds just like us. Chris, what's the weather like, by the way? Haven't asked that for a while.
Cold this morning. It was still relatively nice. No roll again. The same. Yeah, it's like ever so slightly brisk for spring. Like probably not like shorts and t-shirt weather, but there's no rain. You can't really see the skies. You know how cloudy it is, but the wind is just it's kind of cool and refreshing. It's a nice day.
I might take a nice little dip in the water. Those are like good. I'll like swim across the island when they like kind of go and swimming.
As he starts swimming, I'll like look to the sky and be like, he's given a lot of blood towards our enemies. He's a good
I used to
one.
really enjoy swimming, and I haven't done it very much recently. But we never had large enough amounts of water to actually do it in.
Aren't you like an
really,
underwater combat?
really?
Yeah, I'm underwater. Like I was really into swimming when I was younger.
The water is really, really cold. Like not the coldest you've ever, like not almost unbearably cold for you, but like definitely on the chillier side of like water you've ever swum in. So, like definitely colder than you'd expect given the day.
Okay.
So it's like when your nuts go in, but you manage it.
I got the toughness feat, Chris, just for this reason.
Shrinking.
I'm assuming you hand off the bag of holding.
Yeah, you already gave it to me, so
Yeah, I gave it.
I'm holding it for now.
I'm like wearing my clothes and everything. I'm amazing week.
Everyone else want to use the stepping stones?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
just,
okay.
use a
I don't
normal
trust.
way.
Leon, you find yourself almost unnaturally sure-footed. It doesn't really occur to you at the time, but like you feel very purposefully led. Like you barely have to think. It's just very natural for you, stepping stone to stone to stone. The other two, go ahead and make acrobatics checks to navigate across.
I think these might be the first ones from the campaign, like this for this character.
This is why I wanted to walk with one of them, Can't
No, I GR'd mine.
fall
but-
into water if you're already in the water.
What if there's like a kraken in there, though,
Oh shit.
Why do you think I have underwater combat, Jacko?
Good luck. Only one that, but
Yeah,
He's thought of everything, Jacko.
the DC's a little higher for you zombs, but it's not too bad at all. They're stepping stones, like they're relatively, grounded and they're only a couple of feet apart. But given your height and stuff, you have to kind of leap from one to one, and you have a couple of scary moments, but you manage to make it across just fine. Brommark, yeah, you step from stone to stone, really no problem, and make it to the far side with that roll.
can I just roll to see what I would have rolled?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well that's a secret between you and me, Chris.
Oh, no, it's good.
But yeah, you barely even have to. You don't even realize that the others are having any kind of difficulty behind you, Leon. It feels very sort of natural stepping across. And yeah, as you reach the other side, you get there just about as Beck is finishing his swim and sort of pulls his frame out of the water and onto the bank.
The wet t-shirt is really clinging
Okay,
to my
James Bond, babe.
Those muscles,
oh, baby.
flexes
Slow
hard.
motion.
I shake my hair back. I go nice long hair,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
as you reach the far side, Zom's a few seconds behind as he's leaping from each stone to each stone.
Skip.
You sort of glance around through the grove, and Leon, you see a tiger pacing towards you. It's about 30 feet away.
When would I have ever seen a tiger? I'm
Purposefully.
trying to think.
Yeah, Tiger. Wait, was it this guy? No, sure, that was last
Where do
campaign.
tigers
Where
live in this world, Chris? Would I
or
ever
jumped,
seen a tiger?
jumped Alaria right out of the
No, yeah.
on the road.
Yeah, she ripped my arm off.
Very
practically.
possibly not. I mean,
Yeah,
not extremely uncommon, like a rare creature or anything, but
But to be honest, I've only been out of my fucking village for a few months, right? So it's
where was your village? Can never
Bordenar.
remember.
Bordenar.
In Bordenar. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. They're probably more native to the northern lands of the world, so you certainly would have heard of them, even if you hadn't seen them.
So I'd be like, is that a fucking tiger, Leon? You know if your god's a tiger?
Something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, Liam wouldn't have much experience with tigers as well, but mostly with dogs. So I'll kneel down and do the old sniffing their hand thing, to show that I'm okay, See if the
about 5 feet away from you, the tiger transforms into an old man with a long beard. It transforms into an old man, a bit of a hermit vibe to him. He's got a kind of scrawny armed old man with a long
awkwardly
grey
stand
beard.
back up.
Exactly. He's like, there's no need for that, young man. He's completely naked, by the way.
Oh.
But his beard does the duty, covers the essential decencies. It's long enough to, to keep the, to keep it relatively PG.
He has so much chest hair that it covers the nipples.
And he says, you must be Leon, yes?
Indeed I am. I'm sorry, I don't quite know who you are.
Doesn't matter. I am who has been sent to guide you. This is the Isle of Sarnia. She told me you might be here. She sent it to me in a dream some weeks ago.
Wait, you can speak with her? I thought that was more of a animalistic instinct kind of vibe I
I've
had.
been doing this for a long time, Sonny. I know how to tell what she's saying and what she wants. You'll get there too one day, if you don't die.
Well, how about that? I kind of look at the others.
Elf, Chris.
No, he's a human.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
He didn't have the elf, so I feel
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
I'll say,
I've heard that voice back before.
I'll say, well, it's very impressive. Please, I would want to hear what she has to say.
Good. Follow me. Well, your companions should probably wait here. They're welcome to explore the banks of the Isle, but the inner reaches are reserved for those who are true worshippers of the great tigress.
I looks like, what the fuck is your god? I just like look at you.
I'll give you a confused look as well. Hmm.
Okay, we can wait out.
I got a new nickname for you, Leon, when you come back. Fucking tigress.
How about Coot? Never mind. Okay.
So yeah, he just turns like bare ass to you and like just walks off.
He
Like
doesn't
kind of
have that
struts
guy?
off. Like sort of assuming you want to be following.
Alright. Well, I don't know about devout follower, but I guess here I go.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I'll, my step has gone a little less sure, but I'll follow.
Okay. Yeah, he leads you to the what you would estimate to be the dead center of the island, where the largest tree is growing. And still, it's nothing like as large as the tall, the elven building trees. But it's it's at least sort of 5 or 6 feet across at the base, and grows to a height of maybe 30 or 40 feet. So it's a good sized tree. And at the base of it, there is a sort of an arch, or like a natural formation in the roots that grow out, that looks large enough for a man of your size to crawl into.
Oh no. This is a Star Wars, isn't it?
Well, I mean, funny you should mention that, because like the inside of it is like flowing with fog. Like you can't. It's like it's misty on the inside. You can't really see anything that's going on.
I kind of look a little bit worried at it.
And
Look at the
he
old man.
says, "Well, this is where I was told to bring you. Go on. The tigress doesn't have all day."
You wouldn't happen to have any advice for a young, naive man such as myself, would you?
Kind of thinks about that deeply, ponders, and says, "Well, boys found maintaining a balanced diet's useful for reaching your elder years. Healthy exercise every day, I'd say, pretty important. Stretch before you exercise, though.
I'll keep it in mind.
Otherwise, you'll hurt yourself.
I'll start to do some stretches.
And don't trust dogs with orange eyebrows."
Can't say that I've ever seen one.
Well, if you do, don't trust it.
I wouldn't trust anyone with orange eyebrows, truthfully told. But alright, and with that, I'll crawl into the tree.
Okay. Yeah, you crawl through the sort of misty opening, expecting the interior to basically be like, a hollow tube large enough for a man to stand up in, basically. But as you crawl into it, you don't immediately encounter the other side of the trunk. So feel around and feel like just grass beneath your hands, almost as far as you can. So you stand up in this space. And you look behind you, and there's like the reverse, even not the reverse, but there's a tree there, in the fog with an opening at the base of it, the same as the one you just crawl through, and through that you can see no fog. You can see like the open reaches of the isle out there.
Okay.
But you seem to have come through into a sort of demi-planar space. It's like it's an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood load screen. It's just fog as far as you can see in every direction, more or less, and grass underfoot.
I think that was in the first Assassin's Creed as well.
Was it in the first one? Yeah, it probably was, to be honest. I'll say I think ran through fog too. So yeah.
The only one I've played. Yeah, cool. And there's like in this fog, there's like no discernible objects or.
No, not immediately. No, you just sense beneath your feet like a flat grassy plain.
What about the sky? Purple sky?
It's
Black
just
Panther?
fog.
No.
Looking up, it's just fog.
Yeah. Okay, I'll grab my spear with both hands, go into a guarded position, and like skulk forward.
Okay. Sure. You just striding forwards through this through this dense fog. You can only really see sort of 10, 15 feet in any direction. You do your best to kind of remember where the opening was behind you. But like pretty swiftly, you feel a little lost. Like you could probably find your way back there, but you're not sort of confident that you could rush back there if you desperately needed to suddenly get out. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Why do you GR everything until it's okay? Whatever. It's fine. It's not like it's gonna rematch too much to everyone else. I didn't see that. It's not one of those things where it's like who notices it, who doesn't. Obviously. Yeah, you have been going forwards for about a minute and a half. When you sense more than you see, a large form move across your path in front. You get more the way the fog swirls around it than like the outline of it itself. But yeah, you sense that it's whatever it is, it's large or possibly even huge. And there's like an air of lithe energy about it. Sort of as it stalks along low to the ground before you. Yeah, you just get a sense of it move. You just like hesitate a moment in your step as it's passing in front of you.
Okay. Like immediately, I'll say, and to the mist, and I'll say, it's you, the one I met all those years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's there for a briefest moment, and the sense of this presence is gone. And you answer this question to the air, and you pause, waiting, watching, and then suddenly, like a bank of mist parts in front of you, and you see the form of this huge tiger rushing towards you, like claws, fangs outstretched, as if ready to attack you. Make a will saving throw.
Do we have any extra hero points? Asking for a friend?
You have two.
You have
I
two.
believe.
Two of them. Okay. Huh. I don't think I'll beat a 15. Okay.
Okay. That is a success, which the effect would demand that you are therefore frightened 1, but I believe that you reduce your frightened condition by 1 when you receive it, right? Or is that
no, not anymore. I
Not
retrained
anymore.
that ability. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you feel like an amount of fear overcome you, but you are not like in any way compelled to flee or anything. You are standing there with like a frightened 1 and this tiger rushing towards you. What's your immediate action?
My immediate reaction would be to like try and like fall on my back and like use my spear as a way to like kick off the tiger off of me.
Yeah. Yeah, so like you step back like into a low like deep stance, like crouch back onto your back leg, and like raise the spear up towards it. The tiger pulls up just short of you. It's like it's razor sharp fangs, like only inches away from the tip of your spear, and regards you with an unfathomable intelligence in its deep dark eyes that more or less confirm for you the identity of this being in front of you. It is indeed whom you suspected it to be. And at that point, you feel a sense of appreciation and approval radiating from it as it sort of pauses there, glowering down at you. It approves of your fierceness and your willingness to fight in a situation, and the fact that you didn't flee or cast down your spear and prostrate yourself or anything. And yeah, it just pauses there for a moment, and then retreats back into the fog, and the fog even grows more dense around it and swells up around it as it moves away, and you're left feeling with a sort of a general sense of warmth as you sort of pick yourself back up and stand up straight, holding your spear. the frightened condition passes as a round of time, as a round of time goes. And yeah, you're just sort of left wondering exactly what it was that you should, what has just happened and what you should do now.
Okay, I'll stand up for a bit. I'll say, to the air. To be honest, I never really imagined being face to face again like this. I don't know the words that I should use, although I think words are not really the issue here. And after like a moment, I'll try and like resume my step.
As you glance around, you get the sense that the fog is slightly thinner in one direction, just off to your right.
Sure.
Like it's sort of almost a path through the fog.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say you haven't steered me wrong yet. And with a nod, I'll go towards it.
You follow this path, and as you do, you feel underfoot the grass growing slightly coarser, slightly longer, slightly denser, a little more just kind of wild. There's even some sort of thistles and thorns about in it. And as you travel forwards, you almost stumble into, but the pog parts just in time enough for you to see it, a large rectangular slab of stone, like a natural formation. It doesn't seem like a man-made altar, but it does have the general kind of vibe of like a sort of an altar there.
Like horizontally,
Yeah, exactly, like a wide, flat-topped, block of stone. It does seem to be a natural formation. It's like grass growing up around it on the ground. And yeah, it's sitting there it's completely clean on top. There's no like sort of stains of blood or anything. And yeah, you stand before it for a moment, and you have an instinct to lay your spear on top of it.
Okay. I'll take a look behind me. If there's nothing there, I'll
You see nothing there.
lay my spear down and immediately look behind me again.
Yeah. Your mind is suspicious, but you lay the spear and glance around, and still there seems to be nothing.
Not necessarily suspicious, just definitely afraid of tigers.
Yeah. Reasonable.
Okay, yeah, and then if there's nothing behind me again, I'll look down at the spear and with heavy breaths just wait. See.
Yeah. A moment passes. And another moment. And your spear just rests there. Nothing seeming to be happening, and then you sort of, the thought kind of occurs to you. Maybe it's your own thought. Maybe you sort of you lend this inspiration. But I mean, you're standing before an altar. There's something that's traditionally done in front of altars by religious people that you've known.
Okay.
Sacrifices.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Slit my own throat. No, first of all,
so the other three outside, he just doesn't come out. You wait like hour, 2 hours.
You see, I wait an
Yay.
hour, Chris, 10 minutes later, I'm out of there.
new
Yeah.
character, boys. No, I'll first walk around the slab, and then I'll get on one knee.
Sure.
And
Will you marry me?
lower my head.
Bow your head. Okay. Yeah, you bow your head and close your eyes and offer prayer. And as you are there, you sense, again, because obviously you don't see or really even hear anything, but you feel in the swirling of the fog and the movement of the air, a large form moving by the altar just in front of you. You feel like you should remain where you are. You keep
Like my muscles tense and I'm prepared, but I'll remain.
But you stay there and keep your thoughts in prayer to nature and to... Well, I mean, to what? You tell me.
I'll pray for strength. I'll pray for the beauty of nature, yeah. The animal instincts that I feel, like Leon, like I myself, usually lack, and the power that is within them. Yeah, and I'll pray for the animalistic side of every living thing in the world.
Okay. After a minute passes, you sense that whatever is happening has stopped happening, and you reach the end of your prayers. You open your eyes and sort of straighten up again, and see that the spear before you on the altar has changed somewhat. It still has the same length, the same kind of weight, same haft as your spear. But rather than the kind of slightly crudely fashioned, iron tip that it once had, the metal is gone, and instead the tip is now wooden, and in the shape of a wide, flat-bladed leaf. Pointing forward and curved slightly upwards, almost like a sort of a hint of like a talon-like shape to it. There's just like a slight graceful upturn at the sharp point of the leaf, as the sort of gracefully tapered bladed sides come forth. And in addition, there is a rune glowing, freshly imprinted on the flat of the blade that I guess you could roll me. Yeah, roll Arcana.
Leon Arcana.
Yeah, Leon Arcana. I guess I'll just roll.
Yeah. You're not really certain, but it looks like there's a vague hint of runes that you've seen in Zom's sort of alchemical scribblings and writings of formula and stuff. A rune that has previously represented fire. So it has that sort of vague shape to you anyway.
Okay.
But still not a striking rune. God damn it.
Come on, God. No, I'm just kidding. I want to return this shit. I'll grab the spear and I'll study the rune and I'll glide my finger over the points and do the Boromir thing of it's still sharp.
Yeah, no, you touch because it's wooden, right? So you glide your finger, but even the bladed edge of the leaf, and it's the leaf point is about the size of a human hand, right? It's about that size, a fairly large and wide sort of flat edge to it. And yeah, not only is the point very sharp, but the edges to it are razor sharp as well.
So we're saying slashing damage.
I don't know about that necessarily.
Okay. Not that sharp.
Not that. No, it's okay. Well, that's very cool. Damn.
But you could certainly cut something with it if you had cut a rope or something, the head of your spear.
Yeah, like a
good job
knife,
for it.
Yeah. All right. And looking around the.
Can he choose to do slashing damage
Tigers.
with a spear now instead of just?
He wishes.
Seriously.
He wishes. Maybe if he really utilizes it in a suboptimal way and takes penalties on the attack roll or something.
It does 1d2 slashing damage now. If you really choose.
Okay. Against certain enemies, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
No, but I'll look around. I'm assuming there's no sign of the tigers anymore.
No.
Okay.
You don't sense any presence anymore either. In fact, in a way, the compulsion that brought you here seems to have gone.
Okay, I'll run my hand along the slab, and then I'll kneel once more. But this time I'll almost punch the bottom of the spear on the slab.
Yeah,
and it breaks in half. Obviously.
Because it makes a loud, satisfying rapping noise of wood on rock.
All right. I know what I have to do. And with a smile, I'll stand back up and with a sure stride, I'll try and find my way back to where I came from. Kind of looking around.
Give me a survival check.
Looking around. Oh no. +1, boys. Oh my god!
Nah, surely not.
Long. Follow your way reasonably, with reasonable competence. Like, you end up sort of searching around the area where you remember the tree to have been for like a couple of minutes, but eventually, you know, you sort of find it with sort of poking around with your spear and find the hole, and I assume crawl back out through it.
Yeah, so I'll take one last look behind me, but this time not out of fear, but out of a mix of gratitude and honor, and then I'll crawl through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you come out, the old man is like lying with just like his head and shoulders propped up against the tree, with his eyes closed, snoring loudly, with like a sort of bubble of like, you know, out of his nose. Like,
Does he have orange eyebrows?
He doesn't have orange eyebrows now. It's pure white eyebrows, like his beard.
Okay, well yeah, I'll just leave him there and keep on walking back to the party.
Oh. So the other three of you, after probably a total of 15 or 20 minutes,
Alright,
see
just starting to give up hope.
Leon, yeah, like coming back out of the grove.
You done?
Yeah. Well,
Useful?
no, actually, not
Oh.
done. But I know what you meant. Yeah, we're done
here.
here. Yeah.
How quickly can we tell that his spear is different?
I have great perception.
I mean, like
I mean,
I'm holding it out in front
If
of me.
it's
So.
holding it, it's immediately obvious to the eye that something has changed
Okay.
about it.
You see a blacksmith in there?
Not much of an exchange of words, but their intent and mine is clear, I think. And yeah, they've done this in order to help me get
What is
there.
this exactly?
I don't know. Zoms, do you know what this means? And I kind of show him the rune.
It's like I can't help but think the moon is just like a
Like-
flame
like-
symbol,
like-
like in red and yellow. When you said
cartoony
it's like
flame.
a symbol for flame.
Zoms, you're a master craftsman, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you don't even have to roll. Zoms, you immediately recognize it as a greater striking rune.
Ooh.
Oh,
Greater striking?
this right here is a greatest.
Fuck.
It's
Great.
yeah, it's like imprinted solidly into the wood, almost carved into the wood. You're not certain, but I mean, you know the process by which runes are removed and attached. You don't think you could remove this from the weapon. You think, like, even though the +1 rune could still be where it is in the haft, you think this greater striking rune is like an innate property of this weapon.
Oh.
The way it's seared in, but you immediately recognize the symbol as greater striking magic.
He removed the possibility of exchanging it towards Beck's weapon before I even thought about it.
Well done, gods.
Yeah, I would never do that.
That'd be a good way to offend the tiger goddess.
Strips you of all powers.
Yeah, probably.
When you wake up.
Yeah, like clap you on the shoulder a bit. I'm like, well, I guess it's a good thing you decided to take the spear out the bag of holding then.
Yeah, something just told me it was the right thing to
It
do.
would suck if they had to put that on your hands, you know.
Now that'd
Well,
be kind of cool. Greater striking.
Yeah, back a mean punch.
Knuckles.
Never lose a bar fight again.
They would have given you tiger claws, you know, tigers.
Ooh.
Uh,
But there's
Well,
no way chance. He's got to hold
How
his
come you
shield.
never mentioned your god was a fucking tiger? Like, that's pretty fucking weird.
look, I mean, didn't I? I think I told you that I was once visited by something in the darkness. Something I thought that was a
Oh, there's some big difference, you know.
feline creature.
I don't remember you ever saying a tiger, but maybe it slipped my mind.
Oh, yeah. I really, I don't know.
Anyway, we ready to go then?
Yeah,
It's probably that time.
I think it's due time to have some more celebration before heading back on the path of danger.
Look, you feel a little more confident now, at least. As I gesture towards the spear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
confident not only in my own fate, but in all of ours. I think we're doing good here.
Oh,
Now, with that said, what do you say we don't retreat quite yet to our home up there, but maybe try and find an inn or something, somewhere to enjoy the local atmosphere. Maybe you find a gal for our young back here.
Yeah, look at you.
Isn't Back like the oldest member of the party by like a chunk?
Pretty
Wait, I
old.
thought you were.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
for
young.
sure.
Oh, sorry.
I am 34.
You're 30. Oh yeah, no. We were the. Okay, we were the old ones. It's Bromok. That was
Nobody-
the
Oh yeah,
young guy.
Bromok's the child.
Sorry,
Nobody
I've
knows how old Leon
misremembered.
is because he hasn't filled in any of the details on his details page of his character sheet.
I am. He's older than me. I'm 33.
I filled in like 3
Oh, you're
things,
32.
but age is one of them.
Yeah, like,
Birthplace.
Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. But I
Oh.
guess we can go to the inn. Though I admit it does look nice now, but perhaps we should hide the spirit again. We're gonna
Right. Yeah. I'll put it back in the bag and like give you the bag as well.
sling it over my shoulder.
Mm.
But all right, let's find somewhere we can. I
I wouldn't mind finding that again, someplace to eat, celebratory
Yeah.
dinner of some kind.
Dude, there's got to be somewhere around here they serve meat, right? It got to be like an Irish pub or something.
Yeah, is it like a tourist
I'm
district
sure
or something,
there
bro?
are, but probably not in the area of the town we'd want to go. If you catch my meaning.
Alright, then I get some more fucking eggs for dinner. But even I get dinner.
Let's go full Irish, just potatoes.
There's nothing with protein pills.
Yeah, there's certainly
Beans.
like communal areas, more like less inns because anybody who comes here is given up somewhere to stay, like a private
Yeah.
residence, but more like taverns, like restaurants and taverns
Yeah.
and kind of more likely to be back in. I mean, obviously, people are everywhere, but if you're looking particularly more likely to be back in Elfwood, which is the hex where you guys are staying.
We go to
But
the-
yeah, like around here, it's a bit weird religious types and stuff.
Yeah, fuck these people.
Yeah.
Bit-
We need
bit
to get out of
Utah.
the religious area.
Sorry, Josh.
What?
I said a bit Utah.
Oh, yeah. Make fun of this place all you want. It's insane.
They're nuts, yeah.
Alright, so yeah.
And the fucking static electricity. I've gone about this every time, but man, I hate your
It's
state.
true. It's so bad. I told
So
you, like,
dry.
I've ruined 3 Guitar Hero guitars because of that.
Wait, what?
It's like sitting there, like playing, like, so you're sitting on a couch, feet on the carpet, right? And you move your foot, and it generates so much static electricity, it, like, literally passes through your body into your hand, shocks the controller, and fries it.
Seriously, it's the worst. Like the air is just so
Literally
dry
that
there.
bad.
Wait,
And, like,
so
the
that's something to
altitude
do with the state of Utah?
Yeah,
It's
like,
it's a mix of how dry
like,
it
it's
is.
the only
Oh,
place
my
where I've ever
God.
had to, like,
Yeah.
every time I get into the elevator in my hotel, I had to like put my finger inside my shirt to push the button because I would consistently every time get like a
Yep.
nasty static shock from pushing the metal button in the elevator. Like, it was-
weird.
Jeez,
It's
really
a
bad.
weird feeling, man. I gotta be honest, but it's
Some
so
Twilight
true.
Zone shit.
You don't really notice it when you leave elsewhere because you just kind of get used to just constantly getting static shocked every time you flip a light switch on and stuff. But like, yeah, not wrong.
Fucking worst.
Everything is a
That sounds lot of
balloon.
fun, yeah. I love
good times.
Good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you ever like you see like the things like a TV or movie and like where like they're dragging their socked feet along the floor.
Yeah.
Touch someone. You just basically have to walk over and just touch someone and you get almost the same effect.
Yeah.
That's what
Just naturally.
It's all in the olden days with people saying don't touch people of the opposite sex, where you get electrocuted by
Yeah,
guns. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, it's real.
It's true. There we go.
So you guys head back to Elfwood, and yeah, oh shit, I moved the map again, and find at the like at kind of the lowest level, in fact, actually at ground level, looking around a bit, just poking around, you find the bar all the foreigners go to. It's the least elfy place of all the places here. They do, yeah. They serve meat. You can definitely eat meat here. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. I mean, you can last a while, especially you got magic, but like it seems like it's from out of town, right? It doesn't seem like it's any sort of forest creatures have been hunted for this. It's like it's all beef and stuff, and you haven't seen a lot of cows since you last. It's a lot of burgers. but yeah, you find somewhere which is, you know, a lot of humans, like mostly humans around, but like, you know, a few like halflings, dwarves, gnomes, like I mean, I say dwarves, the occasional dwarf, even like, you know, Shuni and stuff. Like, it's a very multicultural, mixed crowd here. And yeah, you guys. I mean, by the time you sort of been there and like you traveled a full lap of the city today, so it's like, you know, it's definitely like early evening by the time you're there. But yeah, I mean, you've got several hours ahead of you, you know, before you'd want to go to bed if you just want to hang out and sort of get the vibe, chill. There's like, I mean, it's not like really, it's not like going to like a you know, like a bar on a military base or something, but there's like definitely a non-zero number of New Dawn here. There's like a few of them around. But you don't really get the sense that anyone's paying you guys like specific attention. Like, you don't sort of get like the mean eye like glances like, wait, hang on, that's the group of four with the goblin kind of, and the big guy like kind of staring over your way. Mostly trainees, privates, corporals.
Glance to the slaughter, you say.
That's the slaughter.
You see Beck kind of eyed him with an almost like hungry expression on his face, but he doesn't like, you know.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boy.
He doesn't like actually charge it or anything. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. God damn it. Why not? But yeah, I assume you just kind of keep away from them, like you don't sit near them or anything for the evening. You just kind of keep to yourselves and.
Don't assume anything about me, Chris.
Okay, I'm sure. I mean, you know,
okay, I don't sit close to Mike. I definitely like kind of. I don't like saying them super. I think I'm kind of giving an evil eye, like all nice. If any of them were really perceptive, they might notice me like really like, you know, fucking like, you know, staring daggers at them for a while.
When I notice him doing this, I'll
yeah,
put a hand around his shoulder and I'll be like, "Well, let's take our attention away from those guys and go towards that lovely young half-elf over at the bar."
Points towards like, you know, a guy with sort of like blonde hair.
I mean, you said that wasn't really your thing, so maybe, or am I assuming things?
I was like, look at you, like, nah.
A roll, and it turns out the New Dawn are really unperceptive tonight. So yeah, no matter how much you're sort of evil eyeing him, like no one seems to notice and like come over and, you know, like, oh, what's going on here? You know, as much as I would have loved to do that role play, no, like, yeah, sort of just like staring daggers at them. They're off duty, they're relaxing, you know, they don't expect trouble in like any other capital cities, like, you know, it's a bit of a blind spot for them.
Just like, you know, chewing meat while to stay in them, and you know, you know, like blood like dripping out of my mouth from like the rare steak, you know.
I'll teach Brom this card game that Zoms taught me called Patience.
Man,
I thought if Tom taught you a card game, it'd be Snap, but okay.
Okay.
Except he calls it Boom, and you just gotta go boom when you put your hand down.
Yeah, that's way better.
I mean,
but you know, after we like eating for a little bit, I'm like, man, we probably should have invited Blackbird down for this, right?
I think she would understand.
And I think she spent a lot of her time in solitude. I think she even prefers it.
Well, we should probably head up anyway. We should leave early tomorrow.
Sure.
True.
I prefer Windhelm. Solitude's the worst city in Skyrim.
It's been so long since I played Skyrim.
Solitude is the city, don't worry, it's the capital.
Yeah.
Anyway, I spent a lot of time in Solitude, you know.
Oh, that's where the mage school is, right?
No, the mage crew's in the icy one. What's it called? Solitude's like the capital where the Imperial Legion recruits you, and yeah. Can't remember what the major one's called.
Fun.
I literally just did the fucking mage.
You're now an archwizard or whatever.
Yeah,
We played that game forever.
I'm playing through a load of RPGs at the moment with my girlfriend. Like, I'm just like, she's never really been very much of a gamer, but I've got her from, like, she played The Sims when she was like 11 and never played any video games for like 10 years. And then I was like, okay, how about we play some of The Sims? She's like, oh yeah, I'm having a good time with this. Actually, she went so far as like get The Sims for herself and like buy a bunch of DLCs and make like a bunch of gay couples on her laptop and have a great time. She loves making like cute gay couples. Who knows why? I can explain that. And then we got into Fable, and then we played Fallout 4, and like now we're playing The Witcher 3. I finally got around to that, and like we previously played a bit of Skyrim, which she really liked. She loves games where you get to design characters and stuff. So yeah, I'm forging my gamer girl.
Wait, so is she the one mainly playing, or are you the one mainly playing?
She's the one mainly playing, yeah. Like, you know, it depends on the game. For a lot of them, we sort of take turns, but like now, for The Witcher 3, she's basically been the only one playing. And frankly, I'm loving her. I love just sitting there watching her.
You should have her get a PS5 and then have her play the new Demon Souls.
I've threatened to install like Dark Souls or something a couple
Insert
of times.
that link pic where he's like, "Ooh, yeah, a new world," and I got stabbed by the skeleton. Welcome to Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, we played Breath of the Wild on my Switch. I forgot about that. Like that was a really good time. She really,
or Hades,
like
she
used to love. She played like a lot of Zelda when she was a kid as well. With that stuff. Yeah. She had a GameCube and stuff. Years.
I feel like just with her panache for creating cute gay couples, so she should totally play Hades.
That's not even a bad suggestion actually, because like the dialogue and the stories and stuff in that game are really fun. Like I might start
real good
Hades and get it. Okay, no, I didn't even consider that, but that's actually not a bad suggestion.
Yeah, and again, this for her, if like it's difficult because I did this because I'm an old fucking terrible gamer, and so like I put on the God tier or God whatever, and
I definitely
found a good balance, right?
Shay does, because like she haven't played games for years and shit like I have, but she's really like we're definitely playing The Witcher 3 on like the like give me the story difficulty and play everything on like the give me the story difficulty because like
that makes sense.
Like but it was so sweet. But she had like really proud. I don't know how he's played Fallout 4, but like what are the really tough like. There's like a really tough kind of monster like in there, like the huge like hulking.
Oh, the death,
whatever they're called. Yeah. There's like one mission where you have to like you go to like the like Museum of Witchcraft or whatever, and you have to fight one of them in a church. It's like a big fight with one of those in a really confined space. And for whatever reason, she was insisting on using a melee weapon because she found this like punching weapon that she really loved. So she had to like use like all the consumables we collected up to that point to defeat like a giant like monster like in a fist fight in a church. But like oh my god, she was like so happy when she killed it. She was like it was really sweet. It was so cool to watch.
I'm assuming it was Fallout 76, but they were doing like a multiplayer thing, and his whole goal was to do a One Punch Man build. So everything was into just like one punching melee weapon, and they just kept dying.
She loved that. It's like a sort of mechanical punching arm with like a sort of pneumatic thing on the end that like punches harder when you. She just loved it going through like a den of like raiders. Until that point, she was like, "Oh man, I hate like every quest is like clear out a base of like things to fight." Every time there was like a bunch of combat, she'd be like, "Okay, Chris, you play now." With my phone for a bit. When we got that punching weapon, she was like, "Oh yeah, let's just like punch people's heads off for the next 5 minutes." It's slightly worrying, but great fun.
But just to clarify, the most dangerous enemy in Fallout is a cazador.
Wait, which one's that?
It's the bug.
Yeah, it's the flying one, right?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Those fucking
they're so scary.
Anything that flies in that game is just impossible to hit with anything. Like,
yeah. Oh god.
Anyway, good role played. Chilling out in a bar for a little while.
Yeah.
So I guess having a casual conversation. And yeah,
how much does that cost, by the way, just so I make sure to get some stuff on my inventory?
I mean, assuming you guys have like a good amount of money, you don't want to like splash your wealth, but you want to like treat yourselves to a nice meal.
Yeah.
So
Bear in mind, I eat like 2 kilos of meat a meal.
2 kilos. You just had a huge lunch.
He goes full Ron Swanson. He's like, "Hey, give me all the beef, or all the pork."
Like, oh my god, the
bacon
scales up pretty quick. A poor meal is 1 copper. A square meal is 3 copper. Fine dining is 1 gold. So if you want to have the nice experience, it's like
we
a
just
gold
get 4 gold.
Yeah, a gold each will like get you guys like really. You just have a really good evening, like fine wines, fine good.
I have like 10 square meals instead of
You're just bulking up,
But yeah,
we call that a full English.
Exactly. Yeah, Beck's an anime eater. He just like piles the table high with bowls, and then like by the time he's finished, like a stack of bowls like this high on the table, like
Yeah.
But no, you guys have like a real good feed. Loads like lots of meat for Beck. He's finally got his hands on some. It's been a while in the woods. He's been eating rations and shit for a while. You get some good booze in there, like some good sides, like some fried up potatoes and stuff. It's like it's a real good time. Like it's a real like. Beck's like definitely walking slightly uncomfortable with how full he is by the time you guys are finished eating here.
Has to loosen his belt by at least 1 notch.
Loosening the lifting belt,
I did that once in Florence, I think. I was in Italy with my girlfriend. I accidentally ordered a steak that was I couldn't read the Italian menu. It was meant to be a share meal. It was meant to be for 2 people, and I was like, well, fucking whatever. I was usual anyway. And oh my god, like I had literally rolled back to the Airbnb. Like it was a bad time. It was a hefty. So that's my personal experience from imagining how Beck is right now. Like, you're gonna sleep well tonight. And then you guys do, yeah. You like make it, you climb. You have to climb a flight of stairs, which Beck is uncomfortable with, and then you get on a wind boat, head back to where you're staying. By the time you get back, I'm assuming it's a little late. Like Blackbird's already gone to sleep.
Oh, but we didn't tell Blackbird about the things this night. Oh no.
But you can see she's already like there's like at the sort of table in the center of the apartment where you guys are staying. She's already she's got a few books there, and she's got notes about extra books. She's gonna go and find them. Like she's got a sort of a list of like different research places in the city where she's gonna go tomorrow. Like you can see she got a pretty good hold on the on her task while you guys are going.
Planning on telling her about like more details about objects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the plan anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
But she seems to have gone to bed by now.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll get a long rest. And I guess you guys do that in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, yeah. What do you guys, if you guys remember much? What do you guys tell her about your?
All right. So, Blackbird. Yeah. The necklace. Apparently, I think it belonged to this old barbarian chieftain called Arnag. It was like over a couple thousand years ago, maybe. There's like some shit about you were born under the sign of like a god of strength.
Tom, don't judge me. I know you play Kingmaker, okay? Yeah, I might have stolen a couple of things.
He was like born under a sign of like a god of like strength, and there was like a blood red comet in the sky and all that kind of shit during the day. And then he was like leading his tribe. I think they were called like the Hollow Wolves, and they formed this big old tribe called the Wolf Tribe or some shit. And then like
Wolf Horde even.
Wolf, oh maybe that one, yeah. And then
You're over here
That
making
was
fun
it.
of,
So he
Jacko's Tigress God.
you've
He
heard of
was the leader of he was the leader of one of the tribes, and like he united a bunch of tribes into what he called the Wolf Horde, and they like ranged for
and then
basically his lifetime.
they went and like fucked up all these dragons in the Dragonlands, but I think eventually they were pushed back. Then he went to like the Darklands, and then like fucked up shit there as well, but didn't like it, but doesn't know sun or something. And then I don't know, he eventually died after fighting frost giants or some shit, I think, in the south.
I mean, that's plenty for her to go on. She notes down everything that you remember about your research. Yeah. Okay, what about you, Bromok?
I don't think I ever got jack shit.
Yeah, you got a
from
little
this.
bit. It's okay. It's been a while ago, so I'll remind you because obviously it was less.
No,
time
I looked at the DM from you because it's literally the three last things were one for me last session, and then the last 2 were from you on that item.
Oh, we don't chat
None of that gives me jack shit.
No, I remember you got told a bit by Isilmira at the time.
Okay.
Your braces belonged to like an ancient archer who was also an orc. Well, not also an orc, but it was an orc who fought for House Ganabane back in the early days of Atlas. And you don't really know much more about them beyond that. It was very sparse to how Isilmira gave you. But you show them, they're red, like not red, but like dyed red leather braces with a sort of ornate, bit to them. You show them to her and, give her the details that you've got. Zombs, you have your ring. It's silver, a silver ring with an emerald set in it that belonged to a dwarven alchemist whose name you never got, but that's what Isilmira told you all those days ago. So, I mean, it's not much to go on, but you give that information.
Would telling them what they can do so far help in the research or no?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it would.
Then obviously include that.
Yeah, you fill that in. And Leon, I mean, you already filled her in. It's basically as much as you were told. It's a brilliant sort of golden kite shield with like a mirror finish on it that belonged to a warrior of Incendius. Which is also interesting, really related to, therefore, House Ganabane. A long time ago. So she's like, yes, excellent. And
I'll mention, this part of it isn't on the shield traditionally. That's something I added for a personal memory.
She notes all that.
afraid
The
you ruined
bird,
it.
right?
And yeah, notes that
no longer
Galactic
function.
Roadshow. If you
Gonna
left it in its original condition, it would be worth millions. But unfortunately,
Worth.
But yeah, so she notes, yeah, okay, she's going to have to focus a lot of her research around the region of Ortala, where at least 2 of the relics were originally from. But yeah, she like in the morning she gets everything that you guys know about your relics, which with the exception of Beck isn't very much, because Beck like researched his like a bit further. But yeah, like she's confident, she's optimistic as you guys are sort of making ready to leave. She says, well, it's that should be plenty to be getting on with for now. Given the week or so that you estimated you'd be gone. But I actually can't remember how long did you guys estimate you'll be gone? Because I think
delayed. He said it would be about a week, but I mean,
well,
if it goes good, I think it could be less. Depends how long
they
it takes to
certainly
convince this
have
person.
a plentiful repository of knowledge in various places here in the Elven capital. I should be able to dig up something on each of them, I would hope, by the time you're back.
I mean, we're betting on it, right? I guess we should off then.
At the very least, I'll know where to look if I don't find anything.
Good.
Thank you, Blackbird, for all that you've done and you will continue doing. Good luck with the search. And I do want to mention...
impugn your company, but I am much more comfortable staying in a settlement and reading tomes to research ancient topics than I am traveling along the road and fighting strange denizens from other planes and stuff like that.
Crazy.
Well, in that case, have a good time, but be on your guard as well, just in case.
And best of luck to you. I hope you find your mirror so it's not all for naught.
Yeah, we'll see.
Same.
Big good, yeah.
Till we meet again.
Okay. And then, yeah, you guys, get your wind boat. It's also early up in the morning. You'll get 2 travel actions today.
Nice.
Make your way back to the Dragon Ward, to the northern road leading out of Greenheart.
Good off.
And yeah, your mounts are waiting and ready for you. They seem to have been pretty well looked after. In the time you here, probably better than you guys like brush the stuff on the road.
A different horse, so it looks.
Yeah, you're like, wait, hang on, this horse is a mare. What the hell happened to Bob?
Yeah.
No, your horses are still
Wait,
your
what
horses.
Oh, okay.
And like the elves have like a deep respect for animals and so on. So I'm sure Bob gets all the good treatment, but like they've definitely been like better groomed and like better fed than you guys typically find time to manage for them on the road.
You're meant to feed your horse, so they just lift off the grass, right?
Well, I mean that's what yours does.
You actually.
It turns out Beck's horse is just anorexic thin.
It's almost a
You
skeleton.
can see the bones on the side the whole time.
You don't feed a horse; they just eat grass at night,
And
Just preparing it for his undead steed.
yeah. And you guys want to get traveling?
Yeah.
And away we go.
Once we're before you roll there, and kind of once we're about I don't know,
get
a couple
your
miles
gear
away,
ready.
get on my gear, I put on my armor, get out my weapon.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. So we travel a hex again along the road, no survival required, and
Oh.
very chill. Forest is just a chill.
We
place
know
to
the
be.
forest has nothing in it. We have already learned.
Forest
it.
That's what we've learned. Yeah. Turns out everyone's just afraid of this for nothing. It's
You're
just
under the
rumors.
protection of Sania.
Apparently.
But she's like
North again!
fighting, right, or some shit.
And yeah,
Onward!
you continue
Well, only
along the
if-
road.
Hey!
First time of something in the forest.
We
Need a
say
key.
no.
Is it gonna be lifting something that I can help? Otherwise, shit out of luck.
I mean, destroying something.
You come across a
Just angry digging again, Beck
Oh,
style.
dude, I hope I get to do some more digging.
You're crossing a. I mean, okay, so say a narrow stream. It's probably on the like it's a large stream bordering on like a small river.
Oh, I do love swimming.
With like a narrow sort of shallow ford point where the road crosses it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see a it looks like a merchant caravan of some kind, or like like a relatively well-made caravan with a bunch of like bags and stuff strapped on top. That seems to have got stuck about halfway across.
Lifting
There's
something.
sort of a half dozen people, like I think, yeah, like 4 of them are gnomes, and 2 of them are humans, that are like wrestling, not wrestling, but like trying to help the horses, like get the 2 horses that are pulling this thing, like get it free from the
Chris,
where it's stuck.
if I had to estimate the bulk of the entire caravan, what would I estimate it to be?
Probably lower than what you can lift if you rage.
Oh wait, yeah. Back.
If you don't
No.
rage, it's probably you couldn't lift it without raging.
There's no danger of anyone burning alive.
Assuming
just
raging
saying.
actually increases your lift
Please.
capacity, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was like when you're big. It was like I can't remember how exactly it worked, but that was something. But I remember sharing.
Times 4?
It was like 30 something bulk you can lift, right? Like it was like 40 something. It was like you can lift like huge creatures.
I mean, I can lift 21 without raging even.
Yeah, it's probably more than that. It's probably on the order of like around 30, the whole thing.
Let me see.
I mean, depends. You don't really know exactly what's on top, but like.
If I, instead of him raging, if I just help him.
No.
Like it seems to have like deviated slightly from the path as it was crossing, and like one wheel has kind of like slipped off the shallow fording point, and it's sort of stuck at a weird angle. And they're like desperately trying to stop it, like getting washed away.
I mean, I'll run over immediately and try to help because it looks like they're actually getting washed away. And
Right.
So if I rage, I could technically do 42, which I think.
No, but
Well,
don't
can't you
rage.
also activate your lifting belt?
Yeah, but when the lifting belt activation, it doesn't really work. It does like it makes like you once in your holding counts as like left, but it less, but it doesn't really like. I don't know. When I read it, it's like what's the point of this? It's like you lift an object up to 8 bulk of those weightless, so it's like not really useful. I just But I mean, yeah, if I run over and I'll start doing it, if it's like if I think it's close and I've almost like it's not that far from it, then I'll call
Yeah,
it,
and
like,
anybody who rushes over to help, give me an
Yeah.
athletics check.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got some strong boys.
And like anybody who's like, I mean, there's other things you could do if you want to like lash your horses to it with ropes to try and like get them to
Oh,
help.
well,
You
no.
can give me a survival check. Oh, not survival, animal handling check instead. Okay, so yeah, Bromok, wow, Leon, yeah, okay, wow.
Oh, Pomog, you're so much better than me. It feels bad.
Shit,
I
yeah,
rolled
I
a
mean, Leon got a
32.
32 as well.
But what, guys? Why are you also strong?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, between the what zombs you just watching, like, there's like 2.
He's pulling out bombs. He's like,
He does like a
I-
potion of like giant strength, and then just
I
like,
can bomb
picks
it.
it up by
Zombs
himself.
just like becomes huge. But yeah, okay, yeah,
what a
between the
size.
3 of you, you're like definitely doing a much better job than anyone who's currently like you just guys rush over and like literally in like 5 to 10 seconds, the group of you like 1, 2, 3, heave, and you just like the whole thing like judders up, like floats in the air for a second as you guys like heave it out and back onto the path.
I'll
And they're all
give
like, "Oh,
you both
shit."
a clap on the shoulder.
Fucking- They give you like a slight look of fuck, like like how small are these people? But yeah, I mean they're all very grateful. And in fact, yeah, they offer to sell you some things. Why don't we convert?
They offer to
this,
sell us something. Oh, how generous of you, merchants.
at a discount. But they're like, would you like to to participate?
Yeah.
in our way?
No, but just like, oh, thank you. No, do you want to buy anything or do you want to get the fuck
Exactly.
out of here?
Make a sale at any time you can. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's convert this into someone with exotic wares, but like at a like let's say a quarter off. So what level are you guys now? 7.
Fair.
We
Right?
needed at least that much because we're not very rich right now. We spent a lot of our
Okay,
money.
you know what? Like these guys, even if they had
interested in this
maybe
spiel.
they'd sell it to you. So then, let's see what this is.
Take off my god dad hands.
What's the plan?
So do you want a slave and a spear?
Decorations.
And we never buy anything anyway. But everything that people sell is not useful.
They offer a dragon's eye charm. Slightly dubiously because they're not completely convinced it's legal. I just think in general for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
anything
they're like,
that's
you guys
not
helped
legal,
out.
I do enjoy. Yeah.
They offer a. Let me just check this as well. I don't make sure it's not completely illegal, but
5 feet of wield against your foe.
So you get each of these a day? Is this how it works?
Yeah, it has 4 distinct powers. Yeah.
They are selling a chime of opening, which is this one.
Do we have any gold?
And
We have a little bit, not a
so
lot.
they're selling regular
250.
old boots of elven kind.
Classics.
Hold on, that's 2.
I'll just link them for you. So I was going to do the comparisons and stuff.
Sure.
And all of these are like 75% normal price, so we'd have to like do a bit of calculating, but you know.
Yeah, so around 270 for the Dragon's Eye charm.
I know. I'm not like silly. Beck isn't very interested in it. He's already got a dragon necklace. He doesn't need another.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dragon Eye charm seems really useful, but we'd have to sell something to.
Like the only one that's bad useful is I don't know. It's like yeah.
They all are in their own way, right?
I
Like
mean,
we
Like
don't.
Dark Vision, we have like Dark Vision Lakes, so that's pretty useless.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
the charm's pretty versatile. Like I'm looking at
It's
it.
versatile.
A few.
It
if
is.
does any one of us actually speak Draconic?
Yep.
Then that's not that important. Like the Dark Vision's not important. Then it's
Produce
like choose
flame.
flame. It's okay, I guess. It would give like a little bit of range, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Maybe not worth the gold.
What is the
It's-
chime?
That just like helps you unlock doors and stuff. Which also we kind of lack ability to do that.
We do.
I thought Zoms was an excellent burglar. Zoms.
It's racist.
I mean, that would be like 176.
I don't know. It just seems money isn't that easy to come by.
Yeah.
Magic items are not easy to come by. Well, but
Yeah,
maybe
it
more
would
than
leave us
money.
Every
around.
time whenever he rolls this, merchant happens all the time.
It'd leave us with 78 gold, basically.
Beck elite is here. Beck would just
Look,
he's like, that's
Honestly,
alright.
we don't need the money until we find a chest with more magic items that needs unlocking.
Just smash
Sure.
the chest with
Your
it.
back just carry the chest around until you know it's Divinity Original Sin, you know.
Your spear can't cut it right
Yeah, I'm gonna actually pick up the chime of opening
through.
for the discounted 176.25.
Good choice, good choice.
Super legal.
Super fair, super fair.
It's just I just forgot the keys in my flat, you know. Let me
So what you say 176.25, so 176 gold, 2 silver, 5 copper.
they can't
Yeah.
do it 175. Come on, guys. We just
Yeah, they'll do 175, whatever.
come on, guys. Come
Okay.
I think George wants to be rid of the extra.
on.
No, it's I have to add back the copper. It's fine. I hadn't gotten to the silver yet.
Right, let's, yeah. So let's not spend too much time shopping.
No worries, no worries. We're just very, very good people. It's good.
They're very grateful.
Debatable.
Yeah, please ignore our magic weapons now. Off we go.
Yeah, exactly.
This is sort of purely for prying caravans out of the dirt. Don't you worry about it.
Ignore that I didn't use it for that reason.
Oh, it wasn't necessary. Yeah? You should see when it's a really heavy caravan.
Your caravan sucks.
Alright. So you guys move on,
Mm.
having done, you know, a brief bit of business with the people you just helped.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm going to say hero point as well. I mean, actually, have it next session because like half an hour left here, so
Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
you guys can have 2 next sessions.
Just
Unless
roll
you,
a bit of
anyone who
content.
wants can have 1 right now, but anybody who doesn't can have it next
It's gotta
session.
be caravan happens first. On the side.
We
Well,
have like
this
a
is a-
night, maybe.
next session
next day's
anyways.
travel to really
Yep.
quickly get that
Everyone decide now if you want it now or.
I'll have it
Next
next time.
session.
next
Yeah,
session
after
because
that.
we already have 2, right? So
Yeah.
it's like
You're muted, Tom. But I think you said next time.
Yeah.
I can read lips, you know.
all right. So night rolls. Let's go.
Yeah. So.
It's like a weapon sharpening day,
Jesus
but now
Christ.
Leon, I'm like Leon. You know, if you want
That's good enough,
some
Josh. Don't worry about it.
your weapon instead of your armor tonight, I don't really mind.
No, I don't think I've rolled above a 10 on my stealth roll in like 8 nights that we've done it.
I mean, it could be a nice change of pace, I guess. You want to wear the armor then?
Yeah.
Well, you missed by 1, Tom. That's just no bueno.
Doesn't matter anyway.
doesn't
But
matter.
like, what did we? Out of interest, did you want him to do that, Jacko? Like, if I offer?
Could be a nice change of pace. Would you want to have him look at your armor then?
I guess so.
Switch it up a bit, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I also borrow your glasses when I do my perception check. Remember?
Of course, of course.
That's so bad. I feel free. Oh god.
That's +2. Yeah, still not good enough for anything.
Oh, I included the costume anyway.
I jar rolled it, which really is a...
Leon, you're feeling especially in tune with your religion right now, but apart from like the general sense of well-being being in a forest, you don't really sense anything. Like you're sure you would if there were something, but there's nothing really going on.
No, and the dragons
Exactly
are
where you
okay.
are.
So is it 20 enough to stuff us?
Yeah, the DC is 23 right now, so elastic
Seven.
crafting is just slightly bueno. If you were still level 6.
Only.
Yeah. And then
Then you would have rolled a 19. It doesn't matter.
the night passes nice and chill.
Let's just get to Lysandroth and we can end there.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
We've
So
done a
next
lot of
day's travel,
RPing
let's go.
already.
Hey,
The weather improves overnight. It's warmer.
Man, next River Chris, I would take a little dipping.
But we're going north. How's that possible?
It's not that far north. It's 20 miles. Yeah. Did she say where in the south? Like
Yeah,
outside
like south of
right?
the mountain.
She said downriver
Down river, and the rivers flow from
to the sea.
Yeah. Okay. So a bit to the east of Lysandroth. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Is where you're expecting. You don't have an exact location, but from what you understand, it's like the former residence of like a noble family. So you're hoping
Pretty
it's
easy
not
to
to be.
find.
hard to find.
That's impossible to find. Yeah.
Just a little connoisseur there.
We move on. Bit of forest traveling. Next morning,
Nice.
nothing
safe
at
for-
all. With nothing
Crowd.
12.
Across the border, so we've got to be danger at the border.
Yeah. Once we're out of Northwood, it's not safe anymore. So
Ah!
Second traveling of today.
Oh my
What a
God.
lass.
how are the woods the safest place in this world? I don't
know?
understand.
Elves, they keep it nice and chill. Nice.
Apparently.
And chill.
All the tigers scare off everything else.
Hmm.
That should be all the propaganda that we need against.
Night top again, wait.
I mean, I guess we've got a bit of a choice. You could like press on as we did that one time, like a bit extra and get to Lysandroth today. But given that you're planning on traveling through the town anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's do it.
If you want, to press, but like at the same
I
time,
think-
it's like
I think
it's not
we-
really going to save you any time in the long run because then you're just going to travel like one action tomorrow, and it's
Maybe
it's like
should
Yeah.
sleep.
Snooze
fair.
time.
Sleep outside.
sleep out. Yeah, less likely to be discovered by Order of the Dawn.
Oh,
What's the Order of the Dawn
These
patrol?
dragons, they do nothing.
We do have 22 again. God, that's still a fail. Oh shit, you're hidden as shit though. Bet can't even find his way back to the camp when he's done.
Too well hidden.
Uh,
Okay, nope, you sense nothing.
The zombie boy.
Zombie boy.
food time, boys.
Come on, where's my button?
Who knows?
Oh, God.
Oh, my.
Ah, especially
It's
after
not
a
the best you've ever
lovely
You rolled the session, I only got
meal.
And this is the night he was trying to recreate like the wonderful meals
Yeah.
He
spices
has
we
like
had.
an incredibly large amount of chili, and he's like a little spicy.
a little bit of heat, a little can't go awry. Turns out it could.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the night passes uneventfully for you guys.
Alright, we go into Lysandroth.
Yeah. So I don't remember if I did specific rules for traveling through towns in this campaign, but I think it's like, given you can go
I think it's
slightly
the same.
faster, it's not unreasonable to say you guys can make it like 3 hexes in the day. Like travel through a town and then travel one travel action at the end.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do that, we might as well just go. No, I guess we couldn't go here and to here then. Huh?
No.
Yeah, no.
And I'm assuming it's actually.
It's slightly dodgy to let you go there, but whatever. Like, the town traveling is pretty easy. And like, honestly, the whole thing is so Lysandroth is, like it's interesting. There's a kind of like it's like a semi-mountain range through the middle of Deepwood. The whole of Deepwood is it's well named. It's like a bit like lower than you travel downhill a ways as you come out of Northwood. Like it's obviously slanting, up from the west down to the east because that's the way the river's flowing.
Yep.
But the Sandroth itself is built in the middle of this sort of miniature mountain range that the river flows through, like very much along the banks of this river as it flows as it sort of zigzags its way between these peaks. They are mostly like built buildings, even using constructed materials. Like there's a few houses that sort of grown out of tall trees, like Greenheart was, but a lot of it is like actual, not necessarily lumber that's been like harvested from trees that have been chopped down, but like materials have been found from like even trees that fell over naturally or whatever, and like shaped and crafted and carved, like actually form homes that mostly sit along the banks of this river, or like in sort of tiers coming up away from it. So some people live sort of like potentially up to like 100 feet up and 50 feet back from the river as it flows along the bottom of this valley. But the town is basically built on the walls of, or the city rather, a large city capital is even built like basically along this the walls of this valley for like almost 100 miles as it flows through these.
Do you see much dawn presence here?
Through these set of peaks? No. You see hardly any at all.
But we see some, as you're just saying.
Yeah, like you see
Trainees,
yeah.
innocent lambs.
Kind of innocent little trainees. Only trainees here. That's all they have. No.
And I mean, if
there's definitely like a central barracks in the town, like out of which
Wide berth, wide.
we can maybe attack it back. If we destroy a whole barracks.
But as you travel out of the town, I shall
Middle.
give you guys a nice
Saying I leave the
traveling
town.
roll.
So sad.
Turns out there was nothing at all.
Nothing.
And yeah, you guys got the kind of sense you're probably going to want to reconnoiter this hex up and down the river tomorrow to find the destination you're searching for.
So another night, I guess.
Yep.
And so, Leon, you want
Actually, I'm sorry, as I remember like what I wrote about the Sandaroth and Deepwood in general, like most of the New Dawn presence here seems to be, good lord, why is it always 22? This is like always one short of finding anything.
I actually included the +2. This one I didn't to see if it changed until it's engaged fire.
Crazy.
Yeah, you
Yay.
yeah, okay, that's good crafting, good stealth. I'll talk about the ridge in a second. But the New Dawn presence here is mostly focused on the river. Like the river seems relatively heavily patrolled and watched. Like it seems like it'd be very hard to smuggle goods through here. And you even see like not like long ships, like Viking long ships, but sort of like long boats with like banks of rowers and like a group of archers at like one head. That's like sort of ready to just ready on the bank to like intercept anyone potentially illicit like going past.
Yeah.
That seems to be like the main focus of the New Dawn's like presence in this part of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, Leon, you sort of now that you feel more in touch with your goddess than ever before. You get so firstly you get the general sense that you're on a path that your goddess approves of.
Good to know.
But also as you sort of feel the general vibe of religion around here, you get the sense that Lysandaroth is, I will say it's not an evil place, but it's a place of darkness. Like the foliage over the of the canopy of the trees is definitely deeper here. Like the sun, but just by the fact that like the whole wood is like in a much lower elevation than the Northwood that you've just come through. Like the sun is weaker here even during the day. And just like slightly, maybe even it's just that sort of influencing your impressions, giving you a bit of the heebie-jeebies. But you get the sense that like there's something a bit
Sinister.
Slightly sinister about the city itself. It's not that like everyone's worshipping evil like necromantic deities or something, but like the forces of good do not prevail over. It's like, okay, so elves like typically, if you had to pick an alignment for elves as a race, they're chaotic good. But while Northwood kind of gave you the sense that it like tended more towards the good vibe of that, Lysandaroth and Deepwood in general give you more the sense that it kind of tends towards the chaotic vibe of that. Like maybe there's more people who worship like chaotic neutral deities, or even potentially like probably not chaotic evil, but I think you're getting the vibe of what I'm saying. Like it's a little less sort of like on the sort of really morally pristine end of the elven race. Like those who seek a bit more solitude or a bit more sort of like space to sort of be on their own and practice in their own way, come here rather than hang out in the sort of the more like general good vibe Northwood region of the Elven districts.
I'll make an offhanded comment about it to the group. I'll be like,
whatever, Leon.
Okay, well, let's fast forward.
About gods and good and evil. Nah. I mean, I say that after you say what you say. Though.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you say?
Oh, I get a sense of dangerous energies in these woods. I think our path might get more deadly as we travel it, both from the nature around us and the people that live within it.
Yes.
I mean,
Good to hear that. I guess.
Probably only a matter of time, considering how fortunate our travels were in Northwood.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think the gods quite pierce these
Well,
these leaves.
tonight. So, alright, I do fucking hate getting attacked tonight.
Well, let's see if they do attack us.
A few more rules.
Yeah, let's find out what happens tonight. Forest resting.
Oh my
But
God.
as dubious as Leon is feeling about the whole thing, the night nevertheless passes uneventfully. Although out here off the road, there is not the there aren't like the sort of like just treehouse places that you can just sit in and get free food and stuff. Like you guys are very much just kind of
Now they're
camping
filled
out
with
on
spider
your-
webs.
on your own here. Yeah, and the next day you guys spend both your travel activities
Takes two.
reconnoitering this hex. Yeah, it takes as many as it would to travel into whatever hex you're reconnoitering.
Contra activity to travel through. Next way.
Sorry?
But it's only one, right? But we all have horses, I thought.
But it takes two. You get two travel activities each day, but it takes two travel activities to travel through each hex of forest if there isn't a road.
Not if you have horses, though. It's only one.
Is it crazy?
think so.
Sorry.
It's introduced by one, and it's normally two, I believe. Check travel encounter rules.
No, I think it's just.
Well, it says forest is normally two travel activities, and it says.
But horses just influence your party speed, right? I think I rewrote these rules after the last campaign.
You get a number of travel activities based on the movement speed, so we get two travel activities. Okay, and a forest is two travel. Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So if you didn't have horses, it would take 2 days to properly recognize this hex. The fact that you have mounts means that it takes 1 day to recognize this hex. So yeah, you guys.
And the whole day looking for this big old manor or whatever we're expecting.
Yeah, well, you guys. I mean, you search up and down the river with your mounts. I mean, it's not easy traveling. Occasionally, you have to travel away from it and so on. But I'm gonna keep ripping off other fantasy throughout this whole session. By the end of the day, I guess it was a mid-afternoon. You come across.
Just remember you all went on a church well. Just so.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. Good shout. Good shout.
You say the end of the day implies you don't die.
Yeah, let's find out. Forest traveling.
Crazy, is it?
Just chill.
Huh?
Yeah, but if I'm ripping off other fantasy, you find it's not the whole of Rivendell, but it's a building akin to the House of Elrond. Yeah, like somewhat. It's distinctly like several miles downriver from like where the buildings of Lysandroth end. And yeah, you guys. I mean, you found it. You recognize it to be clearly the house of elven nobility.
Do we?
And you have like you can still approach it today if you would like.
All right. So what's exactly the plan? Like, we're just gonna go in there, rock up, and be like, "Hey, we're this famous mirror of these weird magic people." Like, how are we gonna convince them to actually like tell us where it is?
Whoa. They fought.
Actually, sorry, I know you guys are about to get really deep into this, but I'm just like looking at the time.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good place to
like, we
cut it
definitely
off
gotta do-
here, because like I think the
Yeah.
role play that's going to be done here is not necessarily going to be covered in 13 minutes.
That's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
So I think just like having discovered it, where the house of the Shadowrunners,
Mhm.
we'll approach that next. We'll approach that next session. So I shall make a note.